93 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Behind closed doors at the White House. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump meeting with his National Security Council as Israel continues to attack Iran, targeting nuclear and military sites, including missile launchers. Fox's Rich Edson at the White House.
Well, before that National Security Council meeting this morning, the president has been online. He's been trying to push the Iranians to reach an agreement to dismantle their nuclear program so they can avoid attacks like this. The president posted, quote, 2 months ago, I gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is 61. I told them what to do, but they just couldn't get there.
He's still urging Iran to reach a deal, and a U.S. envoy still plans to be in Oman Sunday for the scheduled 6th round of talks, though Iran reportedly no longer plans to attend. Some of its negotiators are now dead. The Israeli strikes taking out several top generals and nuclear scientists.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says this strike initially was planned out for April. It carried out in the early hours of this morning and says that the U.S. was notified before any of this took place. Washington says it was not involved and that the top priority right now is still protecting American forces in the region as U.S. destroyers are moving closer in to the area.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Tel Aviv. Now, though Secretary of State Rubio emphasizes there's been no U.S. involvement, Iran says the U.S. government will be held responsible as the main supporter of Israel. So far, Israel's been able to intercept Iranian drones. The Israeli military also says a missile was launched from Yemen, where the Iran-backed Houthis have attacked Israel before. Air raid sirens sounding a short time ago in Jerusalem. An accused gang member at the center of a deportation fight pleads not guilty to human smuggling charges. Kilmar Abrego Garcia appearing in federal court in Tennessee, where a judge is also hearing arguments on releasing him ahead of trial. He was returned from an El Salvador prison last week after being indicted. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The humidity is on the rise, and we continue to watch some scattered showers and non-severe thunderstorms, scattered being the key word, going through the afternoon, 84. Scattered showers, a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, and very humid tonight, 68. Same story on Saturday, 85 degrees. Sunday, a little bit better, partly sunny, but very humid. Nothing more than a spot thunderstorm at 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Have you ever had a wedding reception in your yard or scheduled a party, birthday party or whatever kind of party at your house, and during the party or a couple, 3 hours before, notice your air conditioner is not working and it is the hottest day of the year? Or have you come home from a vacation and your house is baking? My experience has been that's when it will break. It just happens that way. So if that does happen to you, or again, you don't need to have a party or you don't need to be baked. But if your air conditioner breaks and you need to get the cold air back in your house, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. VictoryMensHealth.com.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to VictoryMensHealth.com.
Do you ever wonder if you've saved enough money to retire? Well, you can find out how you can make your money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. Hey, it's Sue Thomas, and this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects. They have decades of financial planning experience, and they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You will learn about reducing your taxes, maximizing your Social Security income, paying for health care, all of it. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are a handful of openings for the classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012. 314-947-2012. It's the Sue Thomas number. 314-947-2012.
And now, a no-frills ad brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You can save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you could save at Progressive.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Yeah, I just spoke to President Trump. One thing, the president was aware of Israel's action before it happened. There were no surprises here. But he gave me a quote. He said, Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. We're hoping to get back to the negotiating table. We'll see. There are several people in leadership in Iran that will not be coming back.
Brett Baer having a phone call conversation yesterday with President Trump. I pulled up CNN also, and their headline there was Dana Bash spoke on the phone with Trump. So I don't know if Donald Trump was just calling individual reporters to have individual conversations yesterday, or if it was kind of a lead correspondent type of pool call last night. But the immediate reaction to the attack from Israel to Iran, and of course, that is a big, big deal. I don't know where you were when you found out this was going on, but it stops you in your tracks, and you wonder, how is this going to end? How is it going to escalate? What is America's role in this moment? And really come to find out, America's role in the moment was, on the face at least, incredibly, this is all Israel. This is not the United States coordinating attacks with Israel against Iran. Israel has chosen to do this. The United States is not a part of this. And Iran, if you choose to retaliate against American targets, you will be very sorry. Here's more from Brett Baer after his phone call with President Trump.
The goal is still to get Iran back to the negotiating table. There was this building frustration about what Iran was doing at that negotiating table with Steve Witkoff, the Middle East envoy. He was scheduled again for Sunday. Looks like, obviously, that may change the dynamic there. Whether that moves forward at all depends on what Iran does in response.
So I was glued to the television last night and to X, watching reports come in and just trying to see how quickly and immediate the reaction would be from Iran. And it seems as though the response, or the I should say assessment, at least from Israel and those people who are watching this very closely, it does seem as though Israel was very capable of achieving what they set out to do, that the destruction that they were able to achieve, the targets that they were looking to hit and to destroy, that they did have a lot of success in doing that. Last night before I fell asleep, it was reported that Iran had launched 100 missiles towards Israel. And I think I read on X at one point that it was going to take about 7 hours for those missiles to get to their destination. Here's more from
The president told me he's, looking to see what the retaliation may be. CENTCOM is on high alert. The U.S. will defend. It will help defend Israel if needed. And as I mentioned in the last time we talked, the Iron Dome has been replenished in Israel in recent weeks.
So Israel's not going to launch a strike like this and think that Iran's just going to do nothing in response. They're going to have to be prepared for it. The United States apparently did assist with the replenishment of the Iron Dome defense system. That is really something wild and crazy to see. You and I don't live in a world where we see, you understand what it looks like to see a missile coming into your space and then your own missile shoot it out of the sky. We don't understand what that's like. People who live in Israel, they know what that's like. I kind of imagine it to be somewhat similar to, we have tornadoes around here. Obviously, we've had a lot of tornadoes around here as of late. But, and this is what you always hear after the tornado has left the area and reports are coming in and the damage is being assessed, the majority of people say, I just never thought it would happen to me. Israel has to live in an existence and an understanding that these types of attacks are going to come to them. They understand how to prepare for them, and they have actually kind of folded that reality into their daily lives. Fox News Channel's Trace Gallagher read the statement from Iran.
We now have a statement. This is Reuters. This is the IRGC statement. It says, quoting here, Israel will pay a heavy price for its attack on Iran, which killed Revolutionary Guard top commander Hossein Salami. The Guard said in a statement on Friday, warning of a decisive retaliation against its sworn enemies. The Israeli attack was carried out with full knowledge and support of the wicked rulers in the White House and the terrorist U.S. regime, the Guard statement said. So clearly, they are not focusing just on Israel. They are focusing on Washington, on the United States, which brings us up to the next category, is will they go after U.S. assets in the Middle East?
So Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, put out the statement last night that said, do not do that. Do not do that. My assessment of the situation, which is like barstool level experience, I'm not a foreign policy expert. Jim Talent is, and he's going to be with us at 1:25 to answer my questions and certainly yours if you have them. You can throw them in the Annie Fry YouTube live chat, and Brad and Ethan can look to star those questions so that we can ask them of the former senator and foreign policy expert Jim Talent, who will join us at 1:25. It does seem to me a bit like there's a good cop, bad cop thing happening here. We've seen Donald Trump talking about Iran, especially within the last week or so. I guess it was in April. He gave Iran 60 days to participate in successful negotiations. And essentially my understanding of what Donald Trump wanted out of it was what he's repeated over and over and over again, which is they can't have a nuke. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That seemed to be the United States part of it. So what kind of commitments can America and the rest of the world get from Iran that they will not work to achieve that nuclear weapon? I saw last night that I heard last night some talking head on Fox said that Iran was working to have the capability of, I think, 9 nuclear weapons, and 30% of what they have been able to enrich has taken place in the last 3 months.
That's fast.
Yeah, that's fast because these conversations have been happening for decades. Something has accelerated it, and it turns out my understanding is that we've discovered another location where they were working to achieve this nuclear capability that maybe wasn't on the radar initially. So it seems as though we've watched Donald Trump in the presidency for what is like 143 days, 144 days that Donald Trump has been 144 days that Donald Trump has been in the Oval Office once again. He's made the commitment to the world that he will work to keep Iran from becoming a nuclear country. And he has said it's very much so the Vladimir Putin Russia treatment. He speaks about Iran with a level of respect that makes people uncomfortable, which is so weird to me that the politicos that disagree with Donald Trump would shame Donald Trump for being vocally willing to negotiate. The phrase, you don't negotiate with terrorists. Iran is the number one state sponsor of terrorism that exists in the world. That normally we wouldn't negotiate with them. But Donald Trump has been willing to, I guess the word might be legitimize Iran's position in the global community in an effort to get the deal that Donald Trump wants. Donald Trump knows what the end goal is, and he's working to get there. He did the same thing with Vladimir Putin and Russia in his first term. He has done that with Vladimir Putin in his second term to try to get to a resolution with the Ukraine war, and hasn't been successful as of yet. He did it with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. He went to North Korea. He stepped in North Korea. After calling him Little Rocket Man and talking about whose button was bigger. We've seen Donald Trump at least put into play a level of respect for Iran in words that it made me uncomfortable to hear that. Now, just because a conversation piece makes me uneasy doesn't mean that it's unwise for him to do that if he's trying to get to the point where Iran agrees to, for real, stop their progress towards achieving that nuclear weapon. So it looks like Donald Trump he sure seems like he's acting in really good faith. He's working hard to approach this with a bit of a soft touch. And then you find out that Israel goes and launches a bunch of missiles towards Iran and takes out very successfully people who are responsible for this enrichment, leaders in their military, top leaders in their military, and then also, of course, locations where this enrichment is taking place. This is as classic good cop, bad cop as it gets. You've got, as a parent, if you play back and forth with your parent, like, don't make me go tell dad. Don't make me get mom in here. And Donald Trump has been saying to Iran, come to the table. We'll give you 60 days. Yesterday was day 61. And if you don't follow through with the bad cop part of it, then the good cop doesn't matter. Then it doesn't make a difference if you're trying to approach it with a soft touch. If the soft touch isn't an alternative to something, then the soft touch will never be effective. So we now sit and we wait to see what Iran does next. And I really question whether or not Iran has the ability to do something in retaliation that will escalate the situation. I have no idea. What I do know is that terrorism is a non-traditional warfare method. If they're going to participate in the continuance of an asymmetric approach to traditional war, they'll one side A lobs bombs, side B lobs bombs back, and then you just go until either you A, don't have any bombs left, B, don't have any people left, or C, you've completely lost the will of the people, if that even matters in your situation. Because listen, key point of interest here, which I am going to ask Senator Talent about, the people of Iran do not like the people who are in charge in Iran. They actually hate them. Now you can't protest in Iran the way you could protest in the United States. I mean, I don't know if you're seeing I don't know if you're seeing, the leaders of Iran in effigies, and if they're taking the Iranian flag and burning it in the streets like they're doing here in the United States right now with these protests that are taking place across the country. But the Iranian people and the Iranian government are two very different entities, and I think it's an important detail for people to remember. It, of course, makes the situation more complicated if you want to think about the humanitarian side of this. If you look at where Israel strikes yesterday, how precise they are with what they're doing, They're not just throwing bombs into the middle of cities and towns. They're being specific about it, and it's important to remember that the people of Iran don't necessarily support what their government is doing. We will be watching. I think the president is still, as far as I know, still in his Situation Room meeting. It was supposed to start at 10 a.m. our time. You can imagine that that's not like a meeting that, like, we'll put it on the books for an hour. We'll be done. You're there until you're done. And I think did you see the report that they're launching more strikes right now? I think that they are.
I saw something about 20 minutes ago that suggested that might be happening.
Yes. And Iran has retaliated as of last night. This isn't going to be a 24 overs and done situation. I hope it's not another when we were watching Russia invade Ukraine. We're like, oh my gosh, how long could this last? I remember Jim Carafano being on the show and essentially saying after a week, like, if it's not now, it's going to go on forever. And he was right about that. We have, yesterday we asked you the question in the YouTube live chat poll about the military parade. When it comes to asymmetrical warfare, when it comes to how Iran can retaliate, if it's not responding in kind to Israel, how will Iran react? I mean, Iran has been sowing chaos across the world through all the different terrorist organizations that they fund and direct. I feel less interested in a military. I don't want to cancel it because because we're scared. I don't want to do that. But man, a military parade in Washington, D.C. for a rogue inspired individual in this country. It's not like there aren't millions of people here in the United States that we didn't vet. It's not like we've created a situation for ourselves in this country where there's a bunch of people here who may not have our best interests in heart, and we didn't say just come through the front door. It's not like that's the case. It's not something that people are paying attention to right now. Oh wait, yes, no King's protests scheduled for tomorrow. These protests are really starting to piss me off. I'm just going to be honest. The idea that you're going to organize and invest in paying people to show up to essentially be a-holes across the country to protest something that isn't even actually happening, it's really starting to frustrate me. It's starting to annoy me. The idea of leftist protest, maybe nothing will happen. Maybe there won't be any. Maybe there won't be a single building burned this weekend. Maybe there won't be a single act of violence this weekend. Maybe the No Kings protesters are super peaceful. In the context of history, when the leftist aggressive progressives decide to take it to the streets, the country suffers so considerably. And the thing that actually frightens me the most, and I see some stuff on social media, I try to avoid it, but with some of this No King stuff, I'm like, I asked Andy McCarthy yesterday on the show, which this is kind of risky. Andy McCarthy is not like a Trumper. You wouldn't call him a never Trumper, would you?
No, but he's extremely independent.
And he is unafraid to say Donald Trump is in a lot of legal peril here or whatever it was. He was one of the few people who was saying that he thought Trump was going to, specifically in the documents case in Florida, he was very concerned about that. He wouldn't have any problem calling it lawfare. But Andy McCarthy isn't a simp for the president. So I asked him yesterday, and you can go to the Annie Fry Show podcast. You can check it out on the Odyssey app. But I asked Andy McCarthy yesterday, you're a constitutional expert here. You're a legal expert. Is the president acting like a king at all? And his answer was no. The detail that he provided is, sure looks like he's trying to use the full powers of the presidency. Well, guess what, folks? That doesn't make him a king. That makes him a really awesome president. And when people say over and over and over again, did you vote for this? And the answer, when you go to talk to all those people who voted for Donald Trump, is, heck yes, I voted for this. Who among us Trump voters is like, I really like you to flex your muscles like 50% as the president? No. Listen, Democrats, you taught us everything that we're doing right now. If there was a wrinkle in time that provided you the opportunity and the avenue to even questionably constitutionally try to get some bullcrap done that you've been pursuing, you did it. And we're not even to that extent yet. But yes, please, protest in the streets this weekend to protest all the kings that we have in our country. It's absurd. Please don't burn our country down, acting like morons this weekend. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, will the No Kings protests be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? Whatever they're doing this weekend, is it going to move about the Democrat cause? Annie Fry YouTube channel, go vote. We'll be right back.
We pray for rain and thank him when it's falling, 'cause it brings a grain and a little bit of money. We put it back in a plate. I guess that's why they call it God's country.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running.
AirComfortService.com, the air in your home. If you have allergy sufferers in your home, we do. You go outside and it's just like, bleh, it gets to you. It gets in your sinuses and you just suffer. And you don't have to. When you're in your home, you want that to be a sanctuary for yourself. I talk about Air Comfort Service and being in your comfort zone all the time. And of course, if I'm talking about air conditioning, if I'm talking about heating, you're thinking your comfort zone is your temperature, which for us, when we sleep at night with our Air Comfort Service air conditioner, is 67 degrees. What do you guys sleep at at nighttime? Is it 67? Is that too cold? Well, your comfort zone can also include the quality of the air in your house, and you should not sacrifice the opportunity to breathe easy in your home just because it's allergy season. Call 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091 and talk to Air Comfort Service about a whole home air purifier for your comfort zone. You deserve it. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the preferred partner plan and be ready for the first heat wave. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Did I blow my mind on the wild side, singing hallelujah to him every night with you, and I'm not gonna lie, say I've been alright, 'cause it feels like I've been living upside down. What can I say? I'm surviving, crawling out these sheets to see another day. What can I say? I'm surviving.
Immigrants are welcome here.
protests against ICE erupting across the nation, even in St. Louis this week. Now, Governor Mike Kehoe is activating the Missouri National Guard. In a statement Thursday, he says it's in response to civil unrest.
He has a state visit to France that starts on Sunday, so he's not going to be here to do it if that should arise.
Republican State Representative Jim Murphy, who represents part of South St. Louis County, says the order is preemptive because Governor Kehoe will be overseas. Murphy claims the National Guard will not be on the ground and supports Kehoe's decision.
KMOV reporting on the governor, the Missouri governor's activation of the Missouri National Guard. We will have Attorney General Andrew Bailey on the show at 1:05, and they want to talk about these No Kings anti-ICE protests that are going to be taking place. I'll be curious to hear about his legal thoughts on, what do you get away with in Missouri? This is something else that Andrew McCarthy said yesterday. Like, okay, yeah, you've got idiots leading the city, the state in California. They care more about their political careers, which they're, no pun intended, burning to the ground right now as they're mishandling the protests in California. But it is appropriate for the likes of Andrew McCarthy yesterday on our show to remind me, California did vote for those people. So just because you can look from the outside looking in, and I'm really side-eyeing Illinois the whole time, waiting for that ship to sail, this is what you voted for. Maybe you should vote for something different if you don't like it. We'll speak to Andrew Bailey about his expectations of what might happen here in St. Louis, maybe Kansas City, across the state, with these No Kings protests that are slated to happen. I will also add, remember when the fires were starting to burn in California and Mayor Bass didn't do anything about it because she was out of the country? Mm-hmm. And people are like, you could have done something about it. You could have come home early, whatever. It sounds to me, maybe it's completely different, but it sounds to me like Governor Kehoe knew he was going to have to be out of the country, and so he was putting into the place what may need to happen so that the situation isn't waiting to be managed for him to get back stateside.
Yeah, somebody comes at it with preparedness like Kehoe is, and the left, because he's not a Democrat, is going. If he was, they would say, oh, he's just being responsible.
Yeah.
But since he's not, they're like, oh, he's trying to escalate it.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
YouTube live chat poll for today. Will the No Kings protest be effective for Democrats? Yes or no?
No, I'm a hard no on this poll.
Counter-effective?
It will not be effective for them at all. It would be at best a net zero that just nothing happens. But if these things turn violent, you've seen it across the country. Anytime crime gets out of control, people go to, right now, Trump. They go to Republicans or people who are just willing to call crime and deal with it. So if this thing gets out of control, even in pockets, it's going to be a net negative for Democrats.
Patrick Bet-David, who has a podcast, very popular podcast, put out on X, he was aggressively saying, listen, Trump, if this stuff starts getting out of hand across the country in these blue cities and these blue states, let's talk Chicago, for instance. That's probably the closest that we have right now to that specific situation. Obviously, in St. Louis, a blue city that is a hotbed for these types of things historically, Kehoe's already taken action. That Matt Newsom, while his big cities are burning down, is like, stop it, nothing to see here. This is so peaceful. It's my favorite thing. Kehoe's like, I got to leave the country. You kids behave while I'm gone. Because I got a babysitter here in the National Guard ready to take care of biz if you guys decide to get out of line. In Chicago, that's not going to happen. Pritzker is going to be in such great political conflict as to how to handle something if Chicago. But you think the people of Chicago are kind of sick and tired of this? I certainly do.
Oh, yeah.
The swing towards Donald Trump in the last election in the state of Illinois, but also in Chicago, was significant. The problem is that the deficit was so huge that it didn't end up materializing to turn Illinois into the red state that it absolutely is if you look by county. The problem is that 60% of Illinois' population resides in Cook County. If you get, I think it's 22% of the Cook County vote, Illinois wins the statewide elections for Republicans. That's all you need, 22% of Cook County. But Patrick Bet-David said, hey, blue cities and blue states, President Trump, if those cities start to experience what LA did, wait to send in the National Guard. Make the leaders, the J.B. Pritzkers of the world, the Brandon Johnsons of the world, make them beg for it. To which I'm like, politically, like, that makes a ton of sense. Common sense in me is like, why should the city suffer? And then I go back to what Andrew McCarthy said. They voted for this. Where are you on that?
I'm kind of with it. I hate to say that I'm with it, but if Trump had waited on California until maybe never, maybe Gavin Newsom would have never called in the National Guard. Do you think these riots would have been any different? No, they probably would have been worse. There is a sense in which you do need to just sort of let people take their medicine and then say, but here's a better way. I'm willing to give you this better way, but you have to ask for it.
You have to say please.
Please just acknowledge that it's there and that we're not forcing a better way on you.
You know, the other thing, too, I'm thinking while I'm saying this out loud, like, let's talk about times where the president has had to choose or be on the hook for whether or not the National Guard showed up. He pressed upon the opportunity to provide the National Guard on January 6th, and Nancy Pelosi said, sit down, shut up, I'm not interested. We have her after the fact going, I, Nancy Pelosi, screwed this up royally in the back of a car. That's a summation. Those are my closed captions. She had her right hand up, in my mind. Her left hand on the stock futures that she swears upon or something. I don't know. But
put your left hand on this NVIDIA page.
This is serious.
Yeah. Oh, really?
You guys mean business.
Okay.
I cannot tell a lie. I mean, Donald, in that instance, Donald Trump implored upon sending in the National Guard. The Democrats told him no, and now Donald Trump is in trouble for not sending the National Guard because they control the agenda-driven media. Less so now because everyone's like, you guys are dumb and we're not watching you anymore. But I do wonder if there is an instance of Donald Trump's aggressiveness with sending in the National Guard. He said this the other day at the White House. He said, I'm not doing this like I did it last time. And I think he was talking about Minneapolis. He said, I'm not doing this like I did it the last time. I'm taking care of business. I'm not going to let these cities burn because their local leaders aren't interested in doing what they need to do. But I'm thinking about what Patrick Bet-David said, and I'm thinking about what Andrew McCarthy said on the Annie Fry show with me yesterday, and I'm thinking, do the residents of Chicago, are they asking for Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker's wisdom in that moment? And if they're asking for it, if they've asked for it, if they've elected these people, do you need to have a public outcry against those blue city, blue state leaders saying, what the heck are you doing? Do better. We need help. And then Donald Trump comes in and saves the day. To me, that's all a political calculation that isn't what's best for the communities. But don't we live in a country where the communities are supposed to determine what's best for the communities?
I don't think it is just a political calculation, though. It certainly would look that way, and people would spin it that way. But you need to have people on board with, when you live in a representative democracy, you have to have people on board with the decisions that your elected representatives are making. And when they're at odds, like they would be in a blue state, you almost need to figure that out. It's tough because if you're Donald Trump or if I'm the president, I'm going, I want to help that community really at any cost, even over the incompetence of the leadership. So I really understand that. But at some level, you do have to kind of let them see what they've chosen and let them see this was a wrong decision.
I don't know that we have any right specifically in the state of Illinois to be like saying to L.A., this is what you need. Because we don't want L.A. pointing at us in southern Illinois saying, this is what you need. We don't want any of that.
Right.
But if you're in charge of the federal government, if you're the executive, and you have constitutional authority, as was determined last night, against and then for within an hour. Didn't Gavin Newsom get on and do like a video and be like, see, you told you. See, I was right. Go on.
Okay. Gavin Newsom also, within the last 2 days, came out, and this story got buried because there's so many other freaking things going on. He came out and said, the president did not call me. The guy did not have any conversation with me. And the journalists who asked Gavin Newsom that then went to the president and said, did you call Gavin Newsom? And he goes, yes, holds up his phone.
Which said Newsom,
That
not
said
Newscomb.
Newsom.
I don't know what it is, his phone. I think Trump's phone says Newscomb.
So there's a conspiracy too.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he holds up his phone that says Newsom, and then there's a timestamp on when he called him exactly with 16 minutes. 16 minutes call. And Newsom, that is just an outright lie.
Shocker.
That is provably false.
That just faded away.
It just went away.
People are like, yeah, they'll do those things.
Right.
This is Gavin Newsom last night after the one judge was like, heck no, Donald Trump can't send in the National Guard. That belongs to you, Gavin Newsom.
So I'm very hopeful this order puts that in perspective, and hopefully Donald Trump will immediately back down. The courts have ruled on the Guard. They will be back under my command, and he'll be relieved. Donald Trump will be relieved of his command at noon tomorrow.
Oh, except for like minutes later, they were like, just kidding. It was Ashton Kutcher. He came in, and they were like, oh, man, I was punked.
Mm-hmm. Ashton Kutcher came back into punked for that moment.
Just for that one.
I mean, it's California. It's showbiz, baby.
You gotta strike while the iron's hot. we weren't
Ashton
talking
Kutcher's
about
like,
Ashton Kutcher.
Haven't been doing a lot of things these days. Got some time. Anybody got a good punked scheme out there for me? I'm ready to go. He was high. Just kidding.
It's legal.
Did you like that 70s show?
Not really.
Oh, man, I thought it was great.
There are parts of it that I did like, but it just got too much. Like, the longer it went, I'm like,
I just liked Red.
I'm done.
I could be Red. Will the No Kings protest be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? That's the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll. But right back here on the Annie Fry Show in just a few minutes, one of our faves, the bee or not the bee. Let's have some fun in just a minute. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
What can I say? I'm surviving. Crawling out these sheets to see another day.
STS-armory.com. If you need to brush up on some of your firearm handling skills, if you are an expert and you know what you need to know and you're a conceal and carry holder, but you know that your class is going to be needed to be renewed, your license is going to be need to be renewed, did you know that STS Armory is there to help you with that? They teach a whole bunch of classes. They are in a position where they can make sure that you are educated, that you are comfortable, that you are in a position to be responsible, and they want to guide you through that whole process so that you can be compliant in a state that just is really difficult to be compliant with. Let's just be honest. They know that. They understand that. They have the firearms that you're looking to purchase, the ammunition that you need to stock up on, but they also have important things like accessories, holsters, maybe sights that you're looking for. Maybe you're looking to trade something in. They do have some used merchandise there as well. I trust STS Armory. I trust Katie and Jesse Johnson. They're amazing at what they do. They're helpful. They're kind, and they're waiting to visit with you. Brand new building in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. 618-931-GUNS. STS-armory.com.
The Range St. Louis West is launching the countdown to 250 years of American freedom this July by giving away 5,000 rounds of 9mm ammo. 5 winners will get 1,000 rounds each, and winners are going to be drawn July 1st. Don't miss your shot. Enter now at therangestl.com/ammo. You have to be 21 or older to enter. It's open to Missouri residents and Illinois residents with a valid FOID card. No purchase necessary. therangestl.com/ammo.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Will the No Kings protests be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? That's today's YouTube live chat poll here on Friday the 13th. It is 12:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Friday afternoon, it's a Reardon Roundtable. Jane Duker, Greg Keller, Ed Rohde, all on the panel. Also, my friend Annalise Basso, St. Louis native, starring in a new movie called The Life of Chuck.
The Mark Reardon Show. Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Friday the 13th, you just mentioned it. I wrote it down at the beginning of the show when I was putting some stuff together. Didn't realize it until I wrote the date down. I asked Ethan to put together a robust Friday the 13th report, and he was like, why? I'm like, oh, it's Friday the 13th. He's like, oh, I didn't realize. Are any of you big Friday the 13th people?
No, but I hate cats.
What does that have to do with
and ladders.
Ethan, you are not an expert on Friday the 13th. You wouldn't know. I don't either.
Oh,
so.
black cats. Right.
In real time.
I literally
path, you can't let
I
'em do
genuinely
it?
had
No.
no idea.
Can't walk under ladders.
See, it's,
Ryan,
it
why
seems,
would I care?
It's that what you just said there about cats. It didn't have to be about black cats, but it still fits as in something Ryan Wiggins would say.
It does. And also, anytime my wife asks me to do any work on a ladder, I'm like, nope, can't.
Because of cats?
Because of
Naturally.
superstition.
All right, let's get to it.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins.
The bee or not the bee.
I'm sorry I'm really stuck on this, but the timeline of Newsom hanging up the phone with talking with Trump for 16 minutes, hangs up, goes to a journalist, goes, Trump won't talk to me. It's just amazing to me.
What if Donald Trump called Newsom and just hung in the back of the line for 16 minutes and didn't actually talk?
It was a butt
So
dial?
no. He's trolling him.
Oh.
So they're both telling the truth.
So he called him,
He called him, but he didn't
left
talk
a
to him.
16-minute voicemail.
No, you just call and hang out. And Newsom's like, Donald Trump won't talk to me. And Trump's like, I called him. The phone call lasted 16 minutes. Those could be true at the same time.
Ooh, man, that'd be tough.
He's like just in the background flushing toilets.
I think it's more likely that he's
Is
a
your
liar.
refrigerator running?
Who is that supposed to be?
Every kid in 1994. I
Got
don't
it.
know.
Okay.
But in the conversation.
Better go catch it.
Is that Newsom?
That's what I was like, is that supposed to be
No,
Gavin
that's
Newsom?
Trump. Trump is
That's
the troll.
Trump.
Trump is trolling Newsom.
Okay. Is your refrigerator running?
Is your refrigerator running?
That's better.
That's good.
All right, the bee or not the bee. These are headlines that are either fake from the Babylon Bee or real. You have to tell me which is which. Number one, Trump responds to mostly peaceful protests with mostly peaceful military.
I mean, that's kind of true so far.
Yeah. I'm going to call it a B.
The wording of it makes it a B, but it is pretty accurate, I feel like.
It is the bee. Trump said, quote, maybe the National Guard isn't mostly peaceful enough. Maybe it's time to send in the mostliest peaceful of them all, the United States Marines. Governor Gavin Newsom has responded to Trump's threat of additional mostly peaceful troops by threatening to sue, per California tradition. Quote, if he doesn't end this mostly peaceful tyranny, I may be forced to get violent in court. That is the beat. Next one. Newsom says it's his duty to represent the illegal immigrants who elected him.
That's real.
Yeah, I think it's real.
Duty.
I'm going to say real as well.
It's just waiting for all you
Duty.
boys to say it. Let me down.
This is the B, you guys. Quote, this is America, a land of freedom and liberty that is ruled by laws. And when those laws are broken, it's my job to stand up and represent the people who broke those laws. That's where my loyalty lies. These hard-working criminals and their families want to stay in this country illegally, and it's my duty to honor that. When questioned about whether or not his office stands by law-abiding American citizens who were born in the U.S., Newsom took exception to the implied narrative. Quote, Are you trying to divide us? He asked the journalist. He's a liar, by the way, about that phone call. That really irks me.
Annie, you're not alone. Walrus King says Ryan said duty as well.
See?
D-U-T-Y, though?
D-O-O-D-I-E. I've never seen it spelled like that.
Emphasize the T in that.
Yeah. It's part of the tariffs. He's trying to make everything duty-free.
And the Democrats are not happy.
They want to keep the duty.
They want the duty. They like it.
Weird.
Next one.
Spread it all over.
Yep, like it's
Okay, next one.
peanut butter.
Stop it.
Weight loss drugs considered to be long-term threat to McDonald's.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's real.
Yeah, I'm with Annie on this one. That one's real.
I'm going to go the B.
Oh, you were so close, but you were ultimately wrong, Ethan.
How was I close?
This is well, there's two options, and you picked the wrong one.
Got it.
So you could have picked the other one.
Got it.
This is a real story. For the third time, McDonald's stock has been downgraded. This time with a double downgrade that takes the stock from buy to sell. But industry experts aren't blaming the fast food giant for doing anything wrong. GLP-1 weight loss drugs are posing an underappreciated threat to McDonald's, saying that while the current drag on sales may be small, it could easily build to 10% or more over time. All these drugs that are helping people lose weight and lose appetite are also causing our junk food giants to lose cash.
Maybe you should
says
just
the article.
make some better food. Better for you food.
Maybe. Or put more, that...
What, are you eating something right now?
No, I just got something in my teeth.
It's peanut butter.
It's not duty.
We lost you there for a minute. What were you going to say?
More of that stuff they put in Chinese food that makes you addicted to it. Can't remember the name of it.
Soy sauce.
MSG. Put more MSG in your McDonald's.
It's the king of flavor.
Ryan threw a packet of soy sauce at me this morning.
Yeah, you asked what it was, and I said, you deal with it. Next one.
What?
Assassinated Iranian scientist says he isn't worried about assassination.
That's got to be the B.
Yeah. B it up.
Incorrect.
Dang it. I'm 1 for 3 today.
This story is real. The tense of the verbs is what throws you off there. In what proved to be his final interview several weeks ago, Iranian nuclear scientist Fareydun Abbasi said he wasn't worried about being killed. Quote, "We're living normally now. Were we afraid before? Before, they told us these names were going to be assassinated. All right, thank you very much. What are we supposed to do about it?" So he does this whole interview about, yeah, I may be assassinated, but I'm not worried about it. He was one of the names from yesterday. Wow. All right, next one. Experts say AI unlikely to replace government bureaucrats as it's not soulless enough.
You had me until the end.
You're going to go ahead and go B? That's correct. Quote, "We tried to get AI to do some basic government work, but it kept shutting down out of sheer despair after a minute or two." Experts say that the breakthrough could mean that AI companies should hire government bureaucrats to do the grunt work that AIs just don't have time for. Quote, "All the forms, the legal work, checking boxes, the stupid administrative stuff, we could probably speed up AI efficiency by over 300% if we just offloaded some of the more soulless work to Washington swamp creatures."
Wow.
Wow. That is the B. Correct. All right. Congress split between those who want to spend a ridiculous amount and those who want to spend an even more ridiculous amount.
That's B.
That's the B, definitely.
It's too real, but it is the B.
Correct. Quote, "My colleagues are out of line," Republican Senator Kevin Cramer said during open debate on the Senate floor. Quote, "They want to spend a whole lot of money. I want to spend slightly less because I'm responsible." In a passionate speech, Senator Chuck Schumer praised his ideologically opposed colleagues for wanting to spend money, but said they don't go far enough. Quote, "We can all agree this bill needs to amend its spending," Chuck Schumer said.
Chuck Schumer?
Chuck Schumer. "We must add more, a whole lot more," he said, banging on the podium. Or lectern.
Oh, God, not this again.
Either way, podium or lectern. All right, burning through. Here we go. Judge suspended for telling too many bad jokes.
That's real. That has to be real.
Yeah,
Judge?
I'm with Ethan.
What kind of judge?
I can't tell you until you say real or not.
be?
This is real.
Okay.
Yes.
It is a Broward Circuit Court judge, wherever that is.
Broward County?
Florida.
That's Florida.
His name is Gary Farmer. He's been suspended after telling one too many jokes from the bench. The investigative panel, again, this is a real story. The investigative panel of the Florida Judicial Qualifications Commission decided that Judge Farmer's jokes were so bad that he shouldn't be a judge anymore.
Uh-oh.
The commission cited examples of, spring is here. I got so excited, I wet my plants.
Why is he saying these things?
I don't know.
How did he get there?
And what did the shirt say to the pair of pants? What's up, britches?
I get it.
He's not a judge anymore because of this.
I mean, honestly, it shows poor judgment.
He could be the next Florida man.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the one that got him, though. He said, Marlon Wayans in living color, 2 snaps and a sweater. He likes it when the Oilers play the Packers. He used to play tight end. Now he's a wide receiver. Oh, that's bad. Court reporter in the sky, please strike that from the record. That's what got him.
Sheesh.
He claimed he didn't know the mic was still on with that one. He also apparently
he can't control himself.
yeah, barely.
He's like a walking Laffy Taffy.
He is. He sounds like Michael Scott. Like, just can't stop.
Is that Office? The Office?
It's The Office.
Is it worthy of one's time if they've never watched The Office to watch The Office?
You gotta do it.
I've tried probably 3 times. I hate shaky camera first person stuff.
You're gonna have a tough time with it then.
It's so distracting. It's all I think about the entire time I'm watching it.
Have you ever tried Parks and Rec or any of those other ones?
No, they're all in the same.
They are.
It's like The Office is the gatekeeper for all of those.
Yes.
To me, and I cannot get through it. But I want to be a part of the club, which I don't ever want to be a part of the club.
It's a great club. We have a good time.
Yeah,
it is. It's fun.
Do you have shirts?
Yeah. There's a ton of people wearing Office shirts.
There's so
Dunder
many.
Mifflin shirts.
I mean, The Office is something that is culturally referenceable anywhere at any time, and it'll always land. And I'm always sitting here going, I'm not in the club.
You should just professionally. Just watch it so you can be a part of it.
I can't. It makes me nauseous.
Put one of those filters on it that keeps the camera steady.
Get me one.
Okay.
All right. There you go. We solved that.
All
All right.
right.
Let's talk to Andrew Bailey and Jim Talent next on the Annie Fry Show. Don't go away.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Well, I did a live yesterday for Andrea's Steak Sauce, and we talked about their barbecue sauce and their salad dressing, the trifecta that is fantastic. You could really eat all of them in one meal if you wanted to. Went home last night, and guess what my wife was making? She was making pork tenderloin with Andrea's Steak Sauce, which I used the barbecue sauce to dip in, and then she had a salad with the salad dressing too. It was almost as if she was listening to the radio, except we know that she doesn't do that. Otherwise, I'd be in a lot more trouble than I am. Andrea's Steak Sauce is fantastic. We genuinely use it for probably at least half of our meals. If we're making anything with protein or grilling, it is perfect. And it is summer, so definitely grab a bottle. You'll see it on the end caps. And you can grab a bottle, usually, $5-6 or something like that. Schnucks, Deerbergs always carry it. Local butchers do because they all know that Andrea's Steak Sauce is the great equalizer, makes everything better. If you're a great cook, people use it because they know how much better it makes it, but it also makes you seem like a great cook if you're not. So grab a bottle next time you're at the grocery store, or you can go to the restaurant in O'Fallon, Fairview Heights, Illinois, Andreas.com.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and whether you're looking for independent living, assisted living, or memory care, New Perspective gives you the freedom to live the life you love with just the right support. Beautiful apartments, amazing dining, plenty of activities. Check out npseniorliving.com today. New Perspective Senior Living, a friendlier approach to senior living.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
Iran. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. In a televised statement, Iran's supreme leader says his armed forces will leave Israel helpless, though Israel says it can defend against any Iran retaliation for Operation Rising Lion, which the Israeli military says has hit more than 200 targets in Iran.
We will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon.
A senior Israeli security source told me last night, quote, Iran had accumulated large amounts of highly enriched uranium sufficient for more than 9 nuclear bombs. 1/3 of that was enriched and accumulated in the last 3 months alone, I'm told, while negotiations were taking place.
The Israeli source accusing Iran of using talks with the U.S. to buy more time. President Trump posting earlier that he'd given Iran 60 days to make a deal, and today is day 61, though a U.S. envoy still plans to be in Oman for a scheduled 6th round of nuclear talks on Sunday. The Kremlin says Russia's President Putin has spoken to the Israeli Prime Minister and Iran's president, condemning the attacks on Iran and urging diplomacy. President Trump meeting with his National Security Council as 2 U.S. destroyers are moved closer to the region, one capable of missile defense. Protests outside a federal court in Tennessee. As Kilmar Abrego Garcia pleaded not guilty to human smuggling charges, he was indicted last week, brought back from El Salvador, where an immigration judge had previously ruled he could not be sent. The Trump administration still wants him deported after the criminal case and says he's a violent gang member, which he denies. Supporters of former Columbia University grad student Mahmoud Khalil outside a Louisiana jail. This after a judge ruled Khalil was illegally detained and must be released, but gave the Trump administration more time to appeal. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
The humidity is on the rise, and we continue to watch some scattered showers and non-severe thunderstorms, scattered being the key word, going through the afternoon, 84. Scattered showers, a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, and very humid tonight, 68. Same story on Saturday, 85 degrees. Sunday, a little bit better, partly sunny, but very humid. Nothing more than a spot thunderstorm at 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Altima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. hope for a better tomorrow, and hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
When's the last time you gave your home's exterior a little love? Hi, it's Kim, and if your siding is cracking, it's fading, or just doesn't stand up to our St. Louis weather, it's time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design because they're experts in James Hardie siding, which is this durable, low-maintenance option, and it looks beautiful. Plus, you have customizable colors and textures, and so you can give your home a completely new look while protecting it for decades. Don't wait until the small problems turn into big ones. Visit lakesidearty.com to schedule your free consultation.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Yeah, Trace, I just heard from an Israeli source who gave us some new insight on the strikes that are still taking place tonight, targeting not only Iranian nuclear facilities, also the country's ballistic missile program and specific individuals. This source, speaking to Fox News, says Israel was able to surprise Iran. Israel managed to hit several targets in the heart of Tehran and to eliminate multiple senior Iranian regime leaders simultaneously in different spots.
So there is Fox News' Trey Inks reporting last night on the Israel attacks against Iran. At 1:25, former United States Senator, Missouri Senator Jim Talent is going to be with us to get to the bottom of that. There is unrest, of course, across the world, but locally here on the stateside, we do have protests that are scheduled to happen across the country that No Kings protest. And we saw yesterday that the National Guard had been activated here by Governor Kehoe. We have seen in St. Louis, in this area, great unrest, great destruction, violence, attacks on law enforcement in the last 10, 15 years. And whenever these types of things get promoted and then end up drumming themselves up in St. Louis, are you like me? Do you get a little bit nervous, a little bit on the edge of your seat? Let's find out what the Attorney General of the state of Missouri has to say about these protests. It could completely be peaceful this weekend. Maybe nothing happens. They use their First Amendment to express themselves. It's peaceful. We go on with our lives. What do you think, Attorney General Andrew Bailey, about these protests that are supposed to take place, of course, across the country, but we do know they're scheduled here in our area in St. Louis?
We are not going to let the streets of our cities here in Missouri, to include St. Louis and Kansas City, turn into violent anarchy and chaos like we see happening in Los Angeles, California, and it seems to be spreading to places like San Francisco and Chicago now. At the end of the day, the people fomenting these riots are radical activists and violent criminal aliens. And notice what they're doing. They're burning buildings, destroying property, attacking law enforcement officers in the discharge of their official duties. And they're doing it while burning American flags and flying the flags of other countries. These people literally hate America. And if you think about the whole nexus between the reasons they're rioting and what caused that, it's enforcement of the country's immigration code, our national law that protects our national sovereignty. That's what President Trump's trying to do, and they hate that. That's another exhibit in the case against why they hate America. It's disgusting. Look, we have a historic tradition of protecting peaceful protests, celebrating peaceful protests. Heck, we codified it as the First Amendment in the United States Constitution. But there's nothing peaceful about destroying property, burning buildings, and attacking police officers while burning the American flag. And that's what's going on in L.A. I'm glad to see we are prepared to respond here in the state of Missouri. We don't anticipate that the demonstrations this weekend will turn violent. But you're right. We have a history of this in St. Louis, and we will remain vigilant and be prepared to work with local law enforcement and prosecutors to protect the public.
That confidence you're hearing is from Andrew Bailey, the Attorney General for the state of Missouri. Anticipation, that's kind of what you're talking to us about right now for this weekend, and how Missouri specifically is going to handle whatever the circumstances are that get thrown at us this weekend through these planned protests. Do you feel as though, I don't know how closely you watch what was going on in Los Angeles that expanded across the state of California to other cities like San Francisco. Was it local leaders that allowed it to get the way it was? Do you think it was inevitable that these protests would become violent, both towards the cities that they're taking place in, but also the law enforcement that is there to enforce their right to peacefully protest, but also to protect the people of these communities who may not be participating in the protests?
Well, certainly the blame for these violent agitators and criminal aliens lies with local officials who promote sanctuary cities and invite these people into their towns, into their cities, into their states, and President Biden, who had an open border policy. He wanted everyone who wanted to come in to come in. I mean, he essentially betrayed America's national sovereignty by throwing open the border and saying there is no border at all. So President Trump's trying to clean up a mess, and he's trying to do it to protect us. Let me go back to something President Trump did several months ago, which was to invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to repel a predatory incursion. And remember, activist judges have said, oh, well, you can't do that. Well, why not? It's in the statute. And the statute gives the president the authority to do it. More importantly, our Constitution gives the president the authority as commander-in-chief to respond to those kinds of national emergencies, those kind of foreign policy issues. And so how dare those activist judges intervene? But again, I point to what's going on in Los Angeles, California. If that isn't a predatory incursion with criminal aliens destroying property, burning the American flag, and flying the flag of another country, I don't know what is.
Can you walk us through, Andrew Bailey, you're a constitutional expert, a legal expert. Can you walk us through briefly what took place in California last night? Gavin Newsom strutting his stuff after the one judge said, no, Trump doesn't get to control the National Guard. It's Gavin Newsom's to control. And then within an hour, that changed once again. What happened there legally regarding whose responsibility it is or ability it is to control that National Guard?
Well, it's a usurpation of authority, and it's going to provoke a constitutional crisis. The President of the United States, under Article 2 of our federal Constitution, is the commander-in-chief of all armed forces and is empowered to meet this kind of national emergency. The National Guard is an augmentee of the regular active duty Army. And so when the president calls them into active service, they belong to the United States Army. They are soldiers in the Army, no different than someone who's on active duty. And so there's a federal statute on the books that was enacted by the people's elected representatives in Congress. It's been upheld and interpreted by the United States Supreme Court. The law could not be more clear on this point, that the president is acting at the apex of his authority as commander-in-chief, has the authority to call out the National Guard. Governor Newsom's on poor legal footing here, as usual. And as usual, an activist judge tried to interfere but was ultimately overturned.
Mr. Attorney General, this is Ryan Wiggins. How has the cooperation been across the state from local leaders, local law enforcement to this initiative, both from you and Governor Kehoe?
Well, I'm so proud to call Missouri home, where we back the blue and support and respect our brave men and women in uniform law enforcement. And the coordination, the cooperation from the state level down to the county and city level has been fantastic. There are intelligence units that are monitoring the situation, disseminating information to the relevant law enforcement agencies, and certainly Governor Kehoe has provided leadership by activating the National Guard. That doesn't mean we're going to have National Guard soldiers with M4 carbines and Humvees patrolling the streets. He would have to deploy them to do that. We're not at that point because we don't have the kind of violence in Missouri right now that you're seeing in L.A. But look, if this thing escalates, and hopefully we pray it won't, but if it does, the state is ready to respond, and it's because of that great collaboration and coordination across all lines of law enforcement.
One thing that I remember hearing, Andrew Bailey, maybe it was the president talk about it. If it weren't the president, it might have been Carolyn Leavitt on behalf of the White House. There is a great deal of interest with this administration in how these protests are being funded. And I think that we've watched over decades now of just manufactured outrage where you're taking understandable emotions people might have about a very specific policy that is being enforced one way or the other. You can understand why it would be an emotional situation for different people of different walks of life in this country. So people care, and they have these thoughts and these feelings about it. But then there are these bad actors who come in and they fund the exploitation of this emotion, and they fund people to come into cities like our city to create a distraction, to create a lot of noise. If that funding isn't there, I don't know if these protests and these riots specifically exist the way they do. What kind of interest do you have, and what kind of interest do you hope that the administration has in finding out and exposing where's all this money coming from?
Well, I think you're spot on. And all too often what we see are quote unquote not-for-profits, or at least they're masquerading. These groups are masquerading as not-for-profits with some altruistic purpose, who are really just collecting money to help, like you said, fund bad behavior. And that's a criminal enterprise, and we will prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. The other thing I would say is that as Attorney General, we have broad authority to regulate not-for-profits that can demand an accounting where they have to show us their books. Who's contributing? Under what pretense are they contributing? Are you defrauding donors to solicit funds to then foment violence? If so, we will use every tool in our kit to first of all, expose them for what they are and hold them responsible. Now, that process takes time. In the short term, what I would tell you is in Section 574010 is the statute that makes it illegal to block a thoroughfare. So all too often I see these leftist activists saying, well, hey, we're not being violent. We're just blocking the interstate.
Right.
No, you can't do that. That's illegal. You and I have a right to go to and from our home, to our place of business, so we can earn a living to support our families, or to go to church to worship on Sundays. Those individuals have a right to protest, but there's sidewalks, there's city parks, there's the steps to City Hall. What you can't do in the state of Missouri is block a thoroughfare or roadway. That is a criminal offense that needs to be prosecuted.
I played a clip yesterday or the day before from Governor Ron DeSantis was talking about Florida, and he was kind of talking about that. If you're just driving from A to B, and you don't have to be going to work, you could just be going to the other side of town to get a shake or something from the local ice cream shop. But if you're driving through town and a protest takes over a street and they're, surrounding your car, if you feel threatened, Governor DeSantis said, you don't have to be a sitting duck in the middle of that protest that is turning threatening to you. He's like, you can exit that. And if you hit them, then they put themselves in a position for the harm to come to them that would naturally come to them. What do you want people to know here in St. Louis? There are people who want to participate in these protests, and they want to do it peacefully. So it's not just a red-blue thing up and down. But there are going to be agitators. There are going to be people who are going to try to inflame this. What do you want the people of St. Louis listening right now to understand about their rights in the midst of these protests?
Missourians have a legal right to defend themselves. If you reasonably believe that someone is going to commit some act that's going to cause you serious physical injury, you have the legal right to defend yourself. It's codified in Section 563.031. It's really the common law castle doctrine that the legislature codified into statute. I would commend that statute to everyone. If you have the right to defend yourself, to defend other people. If you reasonably believe that your life is threatened or that you're threatened with serious physical injury, defend yourself. You have a legal right to do that. The other thing I would say is in the state of Missouri, the right to self-defense is a special negative defense. So let me put that in context. In a criminal trial, the defendant bears no burden of proof. The state has to prove you're guilty. So what would have to happen if you did commit an act in self-defense? The police would have to arrest you. The prosecutor would have to prosecute you. But then if you inject the issue of self-defense, the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt you didn't act in self-defense. That's hard to do. How do you prove a negative beyond a reasonable doubt? And so that's just an extra layer of protection that the citizens of the state of Missouri have, again, as codified in Section 563.031 0.031.
One last question before we let you go, and I referenced this a little bit earlier on the show. Patrick Bet-David, who's a very popular podcast, said that he hopes that if these protests across the country do get out of hand, now you've got a blue city like St. Louis, but you've got red statewide officials, including yourself, the Attorney General, looking out for the people who placed you in those positions in the state of Missouri. My home state of Illinois, you've got a city like Chicago with an absolutely doofus for a mayor and a governor who wants to be president more than anything and wants to prove Donald Trump wrong more than anything. Patrick Bet-David said that he believes that if Chicago gets out of hand, that Donald Trump shouldn't step in and save the day right away. He should make Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker beg for the National Guard to be sent in. And we've gone back and forth over whether or not, those are the elected officials. The communities chose Brandon Johnson. They chose J.B. Pritzker. But of course, Donald Trump is the president and has some authority there. What is your thought on the timing of the president to come in when they don't have the fortunate ability to have an Andrew Bailey as their attorney general or a Kehoe as their governor, a Republican who's going to enforce safety and security? What do you think about these blue cities and these blue states?
At the end of the day, my heart goes out to individuals whose rights are violated because their government, who is supposed to protect their rights, either fails to do so or so hell-bent on some progressive ideology that they won't even protect the common good. And that's a crying shame. I welcome anybody who's languishing in misery in Illinois to move to the state of Missouri, the land of freedom. It's just right across the river. Come on over. But here's the other thing I would say. Notice the difference in what we're talking about here. What was going on in Los Angeles was that you had protests against immigration enforcement. And again, that's a federal law that's intended to protect our national sovereignty. If those people don't like those federal laws, they should go petition Congress to change the laws. But instead, what they're doing is attacking ICE agents who are trying to deport criminal aliens. And so that absolutely deserves a rapid response from the president. I applaud his leadership, his strong leadership, in getting out ahead of that thing and saying, no, you're not going to be able to undermine our enforcement of the immigration code of the United States of America. That's an affront to our national sovereignty. He is truly making America great again, and you see it playing out with his deployment of the National Guard in California.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we appreciate your voice today and your encouragement for everyone to understand that the state is paying attention to what's going on and will work to ensure that peace is maintained. Can't say that for everywhere across the country, but certainly in Missouri, you can. Attorney General Andrew Bailey, thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
God bless you as well. We appreciate you. When we come back, former United States Senator, Missouri Senator Jim Talent. Can't wait to talk to him about the developments that took place overnight in Iran. Israel launched a very significant attack against Iran to take out their nuclear capabilities. Right now, Trey Yingst, who's the chief foreign correspondent for Fox News, is reporting of impact in Tel Aviv. The response from Iran is upon Israel right now. Jim Talent will give us the lowdown on the Annie Frey Show next.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Frey Show.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. You can find them online at igotfloored.com. Your flooring purchase is an exciting time. I think it's like you kind of think, gosh, this floor, it's dingy. We can't fix it. We can't refinish it. We need to replace it. Or you're building a new home and you need to install something that's really going to bring your personal touch to that home to life. Finishing the basement, maybe redoing the bedrooms upstairs because the kids have moved out. Now you want it to be your sanctuary. Whatever your flooring pursuit is, once you decide to start picking things out and experience all the different options you have, that is a really, really fun and exciting time. You do want to protect your dollar, though. You want to make sure that your investment is going to turn quality into your home, into your flooring. You want to make sure that you are, you're not out there to get the cheapest possible deal because you don't want the cheapest product. But you do want to make sure that you get great value in great quality. And that's Michael's Flooring Outlet. You can request an estimate online. You can peruse the different types of products they have, including the Techwood Plus line, the Mohawk Smart Strand line of carpeting. It's all available for you at all 3 St. Louis locations that you can find, as well as request an estimate at igotfloored.com.
Mark Cox here. Let me introduce you to my friends at the Lit Cigar Lounge in St. Louis, where luxury meets comfort. Premium hand-rolled cigars, an extensive selection of rare bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails. It's comfortable for non-smokers, too. They have a state-of-the-art ventilation system. They have private lockers and live music every Friday night, perfect for date nights or business meetings or just winding down. Visit litstl.com.
Hey, St. Louis! MERS Goodwill is proud to sponsor the St. Louis City Match on June 14th, and we want you to be a part of the excitement. This is more than just a match, it's a day of giving back. Bring your new or gently used clothing and household items to donate at designated drop-off zones outside Energizer Park between 12:30 and 3 p.m. Join us for the City and Goodwill Donation Drive on June 14th. Give hope, give local, give goodwill.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime. Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again, Israel will never allow those who call for our annihilation to develop the means to achieve that goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear enrichment program. We struck at the heart of Iran's nuclear weaponization program. We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program. I want to assure the civilized world, we will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons.
Prime Minister Netanyahu speaking in light of the attacks that took place last night. And according to Fox News right now, there are sirens going off in Tel Aviv at this point. It seems as though Iran has potentially gotten their counteroffensive in motion to where it has reached Israel, and we will watch and see any developments as they continue to happen. Very, very grateful to have Senator Jim Talent on with us today to discuss what took place last night, what led up to it, and where we might go from here. Senator, so grateful for your time today. Thank you for being here with us.
Annie, it's always a pleasure, and this is a momentous day and an inflection point in the Middle East.
I don't want to box you in on asking you some sort of very specific question. I really want to get your thoughts. What would you like folks like me who are, I was on a golf course yesterday and I get an alert that says Israel strikes Iran. That stopped me in my tracks. What is it, Senator, that you want people like me to know about what took place yesterday?
I guess three things. One is the immediate objective of this is exactly what Netanyahu said. It's to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon and the means to deliver it, and which would be the single worst thing that could happen in the Middle East, and that's saying a lot. It would likely lead to a nuclear cascade, other countries developing their own, and the chance of a launch would go way up. We can go into why if you want, but it'd be like North Korea on steroids. Mm-hmm. And as President Trump said many times, that's simply a risk we cannot accept. The Pentagon talks about accepting risks. We can't accept that. So while war always carries with it its own risks. This is clearly something that needed to happen. That's the first point. The second point is Iran is uniquely vulnerable now because the deterrence they have had in the past to an Israeli attack was always centered in their proxies. In other words, the fear was that Hezbollah would let loose, for example, from Lebanon, thousands and thousands of rockets, as well as attacks from other parts of the Middle East. Well, Iran's proxies have largely been decapitated and defanged. I mean, Hezbollah's lost most of it's lost its command and control and most of its offensive power. Hamas is basically destroyed as an organized fighting force. Syria, Assad was overthrown. Syria is no longer an ally of Iran. And even the Houthis have lost 2/3 to 3/4 of their offensive capability. So Iran is extremely vulnerable. Their anti-air defenses were largely taken out before the attack. And then the third thing is that we now see the purpose behind the diplomacy of the last couple of months. There were three goals to it. I think one of them was to actually give Iran a chance to avoid this. I think the president was sincere in saying that. The second was to give him time to communicate with everybody in the region. You know, he did a trip over there, about 3 weeks ago. And I think he lined up the ducks in a row. And then the third reason was to lull the Iranians to sleep. I mean, they thought that there would just be endless rounds of negotiations as there was, most recently in the Biden administration. And so they were not ready. And the Iranian Guard people, commanders, thought they were safe. And so the element of surprise was with the Israelis.
You mentioned that trip that was, almost a week long, spent time with Saudi Arabia. Didn't they announce the relaxing or removal of the sanctions on Syria at that point? You know, I was thinking to myself, the first question I have is, who is all involved in this immediately? The headline is Israel attacks Iran. And I'm thinking Israel implies the United States. What a connection and an allyship there is at that point. And then the question is, who in that region or around the world looks to Iran and wants to run to their aid? And that was kind of the initial reaction I heard from some talking heads about it. Did anybody run to Iran's aid across the world?
No, and because the only assets they really had were their proxies, who were very powerful. But ironically, the events set off by Hamas when they attacked Israel in October of 2023 has resulted in the enervation. I mean, really, not the total destruction, but the decapitation and degradation of the proxies that Iran was relying on for deterrence. And in addition, when Iran attacked Israel, you recall they sent a couple hundred missiles in the middle of last year, and the Israelis shot them down and launched their own pinpoint strikes to take out Iran's anti-air defenses. That rendered Iran vulnerable to air attack. And basically the Israeli Air Force is operating with complete impunity over Iran now. They're exposed. So it's been a year and a half since October of 2023, and we just had a major overturning of the old order in the Middle East. And now there's a potential going forward for a new equilibrium and a healthy one there. We don't know. It's early days yet.
Yeah.
But this is, war is never something you look for. I think Trump feels that more than anybody. He is very anti-war, but sometimes it's necessary. And if you handle it right, it can lead to some good things.
Senator Jim Talent speaking with us right now, also the chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council. I'm going to read for you Secretary of State Marco Rubio's statement from last night and get your thoughts on it. He said, "Tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary and for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear. Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. A pretty concise statement from the Secretary of State. What do you make of the framing of those words?
Yeah, well, when I read it last night, what's missing from that is we support Israel, or Israel has every right to defend themselves and to do this. And I thought to myself, now, I don't believe, even at the time I knew, Israel would not have done this against the active opposition of the United States. But I thought, well, maybe President Trump didn't like the timing of this, and so he's not letting Rubio say, they had a right to do it or we support them in doing it. But the president cleared all that up today in his own comments. He said, this is excellent, something they needed to do. And now, in that context, I think it's pretty clear that what the administration is doing is setting up a line of secondary deterrence, if you will. In other words, the United States did not participate directly in this attack. Now, we now know our intelligence, we've cooperated very much and also cooperating in defending Israel from drones. But by making clear that any attack on Americans would draw the United States into attacking Iran, we've set up a kind of secondary deterrence. In other words, look, they're saying this can get even worse if you attack Americans. So I really like that idea now, because the danger here is that Iran will unleash its terror cells. Since it can't attack directly or kinetically, it will also. We're going to see some missile attacks eventually. They get their act together. That's hard because their whole command structure of the Revolutionary Guard's been decapitated. But eventually they'll do that. But then the other fear is terror cells. And so now we're saying, look, you activate those in the United States, and we have some here. Why, then you'll draw the Americans in with the B-2s and the B-52s and the massive ordnance penetrating weapons that we have, and it'll be even worse. So now I think that was the reason that statement was framed the way it was.
You talk about terror cells that exist here in the United States. Obviously, that is the greatest concern of the people who are listening right now, is how we could become a direct part of this. Those terror cells were a threat before last night, correct?
Yes. Yes, they, look, unless you're read into this, you're on the Intel committee or you're with the FBI, you don't know the exact details of it. But I was always told, and people I respect have told me, yes, they have terror cells here. We've got a lot more now because undoubtedly they were able to get agents over the southern border during the years when we were not enforcing the border. So it is a danger, yes.
So do you feel as though with Israel's willingness to, in their own self-defense, launch that attack yesterday, the United States, it feels very good cop, bad cop to me. President Trump trying to play good cop, Israel saying we will defend ourselves. They're going to come with a heavy hand, Donald Trump with a softer touch saying, let's get a diplomatic deal done here. For your own preservation's sake, Donald Trump coming in and trying to do the art of the deal with Iran to keep them from attaining that nuclear capacity, but also without having to do it in a militaristic fashion. Are we in more danger now in the United States? Or are we potentially closer to a resolution that might not have been able to be achieved before had Israel not engaged?
Well, the risk level for us and the Israelis in the short term has gone up, but that's worth accepting in order to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon. That's just, you have to prioritize what risks you want to prevent. And remember, they're a regime that has an eschatological vision. They're in an unstable region. They also have very aggressive designs on the region as a whole. All of that makes them much more dangerous than the other rogue state that has nuclear weapons, which is North Korea. And they're bad enough. But remember, they're surrounded by stable powers, China, Russia, South Korea, Japan, none of whom want them to use the weapons. The Chinese are a substantial constraint on the North Koreans in that respect. The last thing the Chinese want is instability in that peninsula. But we don't have those guards in the Middle East. If they got the weapon, there's a substantial chance that they would be engaged in very active nuclear blackmail within a short period of time. And the Israelis although they never admit it publicly, they have nuclear weapons. The Saudis would want to get nuclear weapons. So you have a multipolar nuclear Middle East. And it's just, when you game theory that out or you think about it, it's just extremely dangerous.
Right.
So it's worth the short-term risk. This is why, I mean, if you take Trump at his word in the last couple of months, and I've disciplined myself to not underestimate the guy, this is what he was saying. I mean, okay, we don't want to do this. War always carries risks with it, but they simply can't be allowed to get a nuclear weapon. There's a lot of people I respect, including in Israel, who think and have thought all along that the time to get an agreement or get a deal with Iran was after you attack them.
And here we are.
Yeah, and here we are. So, but from their perspective now, they have to be very concerned about regime survival. So the question they're asking themselves, assuming that they can reassemble a leadership, in other words, remember, they've lost a lot of their top people. The question they're asking themselves is which risk is greater to the regime, allowing themselves to continue being pummeled or coming to an agreement that looks like a surrender. So again, it's early days. We have to see what happens, Annie, but I texted my friends this morning. I said, it's a somber day, but in my opinion, a good one. And this needed to be done.
Senator Tell, let me ask you a very simple, basic, risking even on stupid question. What would Iran want to do with a nuclear bomb?
First of all, it's a final guarantee against like an overthrow. Second, and this is the danger with them that, again, you don't have with the North Koreans. I'm not saying that Kim Jong-un is rational, but, people who don't believe in the next world are very much attached to this one. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people at the top of Iran. I mean, just look, it's like a death cult. Look at the people in Hamas who've been continuing this war, even though they have to know the risk that they themselves will be killed is very high because they think there's a reward for them in the afterlife. It's extremely dangerous for people like that to have weapons like nuclear weapons. There's also the danger of a crisis escalating. In other words, they attack or they have some terror attack and there's a response and then there's a counter response and you start climbing the ladder of escalation, with a regime that is isolated enough that we don't really even deal directly with them. We deal, through gutter and things like that. So it's just, I mean, everybody who studied this and who is sound who studied it says no. And every American leader has said they can't get nuclear weapons. We just have differences of opinion over how to prevent it.
And Senator Talent, I wanted to make sure that I asked you and gave you the opportunity to make this distinction, the difference between the Iranian regime, the people in control of that country, and the Iranian people. It does seem as though there is an outspoken measure of Iranian people who are also very, very dissatisfied with this leadership.
Very much so. Very much so. It's a sophisticated people and country, and this gives them. And I really do believe this. I think it's one of the reasons the Israelis have been so precise in their strikes. I mean, I forget the exact number, but evidently only to this point, like 75 people have died. This has been a precision strike on the Natanz enrichment site, on the nuclear labs. They've really gone after the weaponization and ballistic missile facilities. And so it's not an attack on the people. And it's possible, really possible, that this would give greater impetus to elements in Iran that for a lot of reasons want to overthrow the regime. Now, there's also a danger that they'll rally around the flag, and that's why it was important to limit this to military targets. They've hit, some apartment complexes, but they've been very precise, and that was to get the IRCG leaders and the regime leaders within those apartment complexes. It was not to attack civilians as such. They had to do it to get the leaders of the various armed forces.
Well, we will continue to follow this very closely, and your perspective is so incredibly valuable to us here on our show on the station. And so we thank you for this time. A very important evening last night. And as we watch and see what happens next, Senator Talent, we're very gracious for your ability to weigh in here with us. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you, Annie, as always.
Take care. Bye-bye. Senator Jim Talent is a former United States Senator from Missouri, former Congressman, chairman of the Reagan Institute's National Leadership Council, and just a lot of been there, done that expertise when it comes to understanding the intricacies of something that is as tense and important as what is taking place right now in the Middle East. We're going to take a quick break. YouTube live chat poll. Will the No Kings protest be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? Let's go to the comments here real quick and see if anybody here on YouTube says anything. Joe says no. The entire world is bored with these clowns. Everything they represent has been shown to be fallacious, clueless pawns. They're sad. Joe, tell us how you really feel. If you want to agree or disagree with Joe, hit us up on the Annie Fry YouTube comments. And in the live chat right there, you can vote in the poll as well. Let's get Ryan back in here. Don't go away.
You what you want, but you got to come home with me. I've got some good old loving and I got some more in store.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you find them online, retirementkey.com. Have you checked your 401k lately? I don't know where you were at in those things. If you're at that 59 and a half magical age, it's not many half birthdays you get to celebrate, but 59 and a half is a big one. The folks at the Retirement Advisory Group can tell you why, of course. When you are getting to that point where you're like, retirement, man, I am ready to do it. When I've done these seminars with Thomas Helbig and the Kershaws, and I talk to you folks, there's always a variety of y'all. Some of you you like your job and you just want to be able to one day go, I think I'm done. And then you retire, but you've already got the plan in place to know that you can do that. That's freedom, isn't it? The rest of you are like, can I retire yesterday? So you're, of course, going to the Retirement Advisory Group to find out if you can or not. You want to get out. You want to be done. There are a few of you who have had people, maybe your company ownership has changed, status quo has changed at your job, and you're just not really sure you want to do that anymore. Maybe you want to work part-time doing something else, but you got to know where you are at in your retirement. You got to have the peace of mind that comes with having the right plan. And it starts with calling 314-993-9494 and talking to the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved.
I'm just living sky high right now. So I'm very thankful for it. And the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Taco to go, taco to, and a big Q. Taco to go, taco to go. Quick Trip Taco just $2.99. Comes with a big Q, they steal so fine. Brisket breakfast, so much to choose for $2.99. You really can't lose. Taco to go, taco to, this deal legit. Taco to go, taco, only at Quick Trip. Taco to go, taco to go, taco to go, $2.99 to go.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Victim of a car accident? Not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best. Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-500-5000.
Will the No Kings protests be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? We started the show talking about it a little bit. We tarted the
stove.
We tarted the dough. We started. And it's 1:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The news is fast. Listening to your favorite show at 1.5 speed is even faster. Download the podcast of your favorite 97.1 show. Upload it to the Odyssey app every day. All for your listening convenience. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Killer time check.
Thank you. I always do better when you're standing right next to me.
You get nervous?
A little bit. Because I know it's going to go like that.
You said toe. Let's see. I wasn't doing anything to you. I was minding my own business.
You know what I should do is I should start pointing out every time you mispronounce anything.
I kind of feel like that's something you would do anyway.
I don't really do it that much, and you do it less than me anyway. Like you mispronounce things less than I do. But I should probably do that. Like right in the middle of an important, like the beginning of the toe today.
You guys were relentless. Relentless in my Ruler Foods mess up.
Yeah, but that was great. That you can't miss that.
We tried during that mess up to not
I tried
mess
to
you
not
up.
do anything.
He
but
crawled.
No.
I left the room.
You guys didn't respect me. You respected the client.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which is respecting you.
In a roundabout way.
That's a stretch.
Man.
I said, that's not a cuss word, is it? You can say that word, right?
Shart?
Okay.
It's half, but not the whole thing.
Ruler Foods wants to remind you that you can shop smart and spend less. Don't you forget it.
Yeah,
but if you're in a hurry and you need to squish it all. No, it's not what I said. Clear as day. It's the clearest word I said in that entire 60 seconds.
Uh-huh.
Shart.
Yeah.
And you could, if I got to find that YouTube short. I'll have to tweet or something.
YouTube short.
YouTube short. Hey, that is as St. Louis, Missouri as it gets to say shart for short. Hey, your skirt's looking a little short there. Ryan?
My grandpa used to say that about the nanny.
Wait, what?
Fran Drescher.
That her skirt was short?
It's one of the only things I remember about my grandpa. Somebody needs to get that skirt a little longer.
Too sharp.
That is a record scratch for the segment. He finishes with, "That's the only thing I remember about my grandpa."
It's so genuine, too.
It's not the only thing, but it's one of the main things.
You just said that's one of the only things that I remember from
your
words.
It's definitely one of the main memories I have of my grandpa.
What were we talking about? I bet you can't even remember.
Yeah, well, let's talk more about you messing up words.
Go on.
In ads. Is there another one?
Yeah,
I
but
feel like
there's one
another.
that we don't talk about.
Is there?
We'll only talk about it off the air. It was so bad.
You know what we should talk about?
My kids know about these things, and when they, I don't know if we've ever talked about the other one. I will talk about it, but I will not repeat what I said. I will imply what I said.
Can you just remind us, like, in generals?
But I'm going to start laughing so hard and giggling that I'm not going to be able to talk for the next 4 minutes. It was the Midwest Wing Fest.
Okay, but I still don't remember.
We were invited to be in the VIP.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the VIP section. Yes.
Oh, it's
and
so bad.
You had a lot of that.
So I invite.
If you have a lot of VIP on you.
It was like
implying something else here that I'm not even trying to.
No, you shut up. Don't make this worse if it were even possible to make worse.
That was great.
Okay, like the essence of being around VIP.
Uh-huh. Yeah, if
She's gone.
If you were a VIP, you would have a lot of VIP. What's the end of the?
I know there's at least one person out there just trying to figure it out while everybody else is like, oh.
Yeah, and I don't know why we have to dance around this. It's not like it's.
Ness.
I was gonna say, what's the?
Don't say it.
What's short
Don't
for
do it.
lock monster?
I said in an ad.
Yep.
This is so professionally
walk in there,
embarrassing.
swinging
What are we
around?
gonna do in the 2:00 hour?
We have an
I
announcement.
said I needed you to come hang out in the VIP tent with me, so you could feel
Hang out.
the essence of being a VIP, which is not how I said it.
Right. VIP, and then you add that word that I left out, lock monster. VIP. Not that word. Net. I almost said it. I don't know why I'm not saying it. I think I'm just trying to
He's
defer
one of the
to you.
untouchables.
It's the
Elliot
stupidest way
Ness.
you could possibly say what I wanted people to do.
Can I say it?
No,
Okay.
my kids are off school, and ashamed of me as their mother.
You know what we talked about once that we never did anything with either?
This is about you.
No.
What?
Pheromones patches.
Yes, this is about you.
This was on the show. Not about me.
This is such a deep cut. You went. This is such a deep cut.
Look, I'm looking at the clock going, what else are we going to do?
Is that your job to manage the clock right now?
A little bit.
Or is it mine?
I don't know.
How long is the cut that you want to play?
I have no idea. So it might not even be doable here.
You were so good at this
less
job.
than 2 minutes.
How did you manage a week and a half while I was gone?
We'd have to explain it. There's no time. There's so much coming up in the 2:00 hour. We should tease that.
Go on.
There's big stuff coming up in the 2:00 hour.
Why don't you?
We're gonna look back.
I don't know what it is. I have Ask Me Anything. Next question.
Oh, we're gonna do that too. We're gonna look back at some of the big milestone awards that Annie Fry has won. And
I heard a rumor that these are about awards you won.
Well, my rumors get started.
You are the one who said it.
It's always a little truth in a rumor, right?
Always a little bit, I guess.
You are the one who said that it was your award.
Here's what I think we should do. We should come back, play Fairman's patches, which has nothing to do with
It doesn't
anything.
mean I don't even remember why. I don't even know the inside joke.
Yeah, you were here and you don't remember. So
How
we'd have
long ago was it?
We'd have to set that up. It was probably 2 months ago at least.
He's always all over it.
And
The chart and the VIP experience happened like on back-to-back days.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
It's a bad week for you.
Like, what was my problem?
I don't know.
Why are we talking about it again? I know that there's a YouTube short. There's a YouTube short that you can see. We'll have to find it. But you will see when I say the word shark, you will be able to look at my face and go, she knows. And then you'll be able to understand that the boys knew. And then I get through it like a pro. And then we lose control. It's pretty bad. Give us your Ask Us Anything next questions in the YouTube live chat. We'll be back in a minute.
International Institute of St. Louis invites you to try international cuisine, support local immigrant-owned businesses, and more at their community bazaars. The bazaars are free and open to the public at the International Institute of St. Louis, located at 3401 Arsenal Street, and take place every other Friday from noon to 2 p.m. Learn more about the International Institute of St. Louis Community Bazaars at iistl.org/bazaar. Message supported by Together Credit Union.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for the Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. We call them the Doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice in St. Louis. So if you're looking for the best doctors for your best vision, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. Doctors Birdie and Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. I had an eye disease when I was younger. It left me with a silicone buckle around my right eye, so I put my trust in Ophthalmology Associates to take care of my annual checkups. Maybe you're experiencing dry eye, allergy eyes. They can help. They can help with cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and LASIK surgeries. And if you're looking for the best eye care, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Make an appointment today by calling 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com. They have a great office location just west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, the phone number, 314-966-5000. The website, youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. Iran strikes back. I'm Lisa Brady. Missiles fired at Israel.
This is a significant attack. The attack the Israelis have been preparing for in response. Air raid sirens are now starting to sound across Tel Aviv.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv.
And I can see interceptors coming off from all directions. We don't know exactly how many missiles have been fired by the Iranians.
And a short time later.
Okay. Guys, come on, everyone move. Everyone move now. Stay with us, stay with us. Pick up the gear, let's go.
He and his crew are okay. The extent of damage not yet known in Tel Aviv, but there is word the Iranian strike involves dozens of missiles, with explosions also heard in Jerusalem. Iranian state media is claiming it's hundreds of missiles, and there's been a second wave now. The Israeli army had ordered residents into bomb shelters until further notice. The missile attack follows a sophisticated Israeli attack on Iran that began overnight, including airstrikes and drones planted in advance on the ground, targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and killing 4 top generals as well as nuclear scientists.
The U.S. military is not involved right now in terms of offensive attacks against Iran's nuclear program. Those are only Israeli airstrikes that have been taking place, waves of Israeli airstrikes. And those airstrikes have been extremely effective. We're being told a number of the nuclear facilities inside Iran have been struck, including in recent hours, Fordo, which is the main site that is buried underground inside that mountain not far from Qom, which is southwest of Tehran.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. President Trump telling Fox earlier the Iranians were hit 10 times worse than they thought they would be, suggesting maybe now they'd be ready to negotiate, but that was before the retaliatory missile strikes. America is listening to Fox News.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
The humidity is on the rise, and we continue to watch some scattered showers and non-severe thunderstorms, scattered being the key word, going through the afternoon, 84. Scattered showers, a couple of non-severe thunderstorms, and very humid tonight, 68. Same story on Saturday, 85 degrees. Sunday, a little bit better, partly sunny, but very humid. Nothing more than a spot thunderstorm at 87. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Get ready, St. Louis. The Cubs are coming to town June 23rd through the 26th. The Cardinals host baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium in a series that always delivers. The Chicago STL rivalry is legendary, and the energy in the ballpark will be electric. It's the perfect way to spend a summer day or night at the ballpark with passionate fans and nonstop action. Don't miss out. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/tickets.
Hey, this is Sonny Gray. St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Hey parents, looking for something fun and unforgettable to do with the kids? Bring the whole family to a Cardinals game at Busch Stadium. From kid-friendly activities and giveaways to awesome promotions like Kids Run the Bases. Your little ones will have a blast, and so will you. Check out Family Sundays, presented by Smithfield, where select tickets include a free jumbo hot dog and soda. There's nothing like sharing the magic of Cardinals baseball together. Make your memories this summer at Busch Stadium. Tickets are available at cardinals.com.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
They got someone here knows what they're talking about.
Left up, left right, gotta love this American ride.
You need to take some time to get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Oh, man, I love hearing that intro because it means it's 2 o'clock on a Friday. And having been gone on vacation, wonderful vacation, I might add, it was great to come back, and when you come back to work in the middle of the week on a Wednesday, it's like, what is a day? I don't even know what it is. It's Friday the 13th. And 2 o'clock on a Friday, we love to play that Ryan intro. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, will the No Kings protest be effective for Democrats? Yes or no? Brad, I didn't ask you about this one earlier in the show yet. What do you think about it's a national protest? No kings implies that, no, we will not accept Donald Trump as our king, which is okay because I don't think he's trying to be your king.
I think this is going to basically sink Democrats. I think this is going to be a net loss for them. I don't think people have the appetite for people throwing a hissy fit. I think whenever you look at what they're protesting, yeah, they're calling it the No Kings thing, but they had the ICE protest this past week and weekend, and that's what it's going to get linked to. It's just going to be linked to protesting people being deported, and the majority of the country voted for the people to be deported. They support that. They're in on it. They don't want people to go out there and, defend people basically who are not Americans, who are coming in here to, for lack of a better phrase, taking their jobs, eating up housing, doing all this other stuff, getting government benefits, taking their tax dollars. They're not going to stand for it. And if Democrats put themselves on that side, it's going to cook them. They're not going to do well out of this.
Here's the other thing that I have to remind myself all the time, and it's a lot easier to do when I've been on vacation and I've intentionally unplugged myself from the world that I live in 24/7. What percentage of the country is going to go to work on Monday not knowing that any of these protests even happened? Because that is also a possibility. And I almost think this time, potentially the most likely outcome, people go do their protest thing. Maybe they try to shut down some streets. It's the weekend. It's not going to be as busy as if you were shutting down, rush hour traffic or whatever. It's possible that these things happen and no big stories come out of it. They don't get the martyr that I think that they're actually trying to get, which would be the worst case scenario. And life goes on, and then the Democrats, the aggressive progressives, are out there angry on Monday, but they were angry on Friday, and they were angry last week and the month before, and they're just angry people. I wish that they don't have to be angry. It's a life choice, but it is possible they just kind of fizzle. Okay, you did your protest thing. We're kind of desensitized to. There are people gathering on the streets with signs. Okay, I'm going to get a smoothie. Ryan, what do you think? No Kings protests effective?
I have a great answer for this question, but I've learned a lot about radio over my couple years in the biz.
It's obviously.
And we like Trisha and I before the show, we were just having a jam session.
Hi, Trisha.
Sitting there,
Hey, guys.
Just talking about.
That's actually how news talkers get ready for their talk shows.
Right.
Jam sessions.
Drum circles.
Sessions.
It's just reading the dictionary out loud. Enunciating.
Saying words like, sibilance.
Oh, no. I literally. Exactly. I wrote down this word. The last time I spoke to Jim Talent before today, I taught him the phrase, let him cook.
Mm-hmm.
He said it. I felt accomplished by that. He said eschatological. I wrote it down, and I thought if I write it down, maybe I'll understand what it means.
Ooh, did he say that in reference to North Korea not believing the afterlife?
Something in there, but I believe it means like escalatory, like the process of escalation.
Oh, that's not what I thought that word meant.
Eschatology is.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is what?
End times.
Yeah, it's a study
that makes more sense.
Periods of history.
Yeah, biblical end times is called eschatology.
Wait, how did he say it?
I don't know. Listen to the podcast.
Okay.
There's a lot of places you can hear it.
Sibilance.
Sibilance. He said, let him cook.
Anyway, in learning about radio, one of the things that I've learned is that when somebody asks you a very intriguing question like, Rand, how do you answer, will the No Kings protest be effective? What you tell them is, I'll tell you in the next segment.
It's 2:11.
Yeah. But I think that I should do that because there's other things that we need to talk about here. And it's time to derail that conversation and do what I want to do. So here is the history of the show a little bit.
What? I'm asking you about. Yeah, this feels eschatological or something.
Big things are happening. Not everybody knows about all of them all the time. I usually am way on the outside, but I just so happen to be right in the middle of this one. So I get to bring you along for a nice announcement. And that's also why Trisha is here too. So the history of the show is Annie Fry has won a lot of major awards.
Oh, knock it off.
Woo!
That's not true.
She's won everything really in broadcast that you can think of. She's won. And but there was one thing she hadn't won.
Right.
So let's talk about.
It's not accurate. That's not even remotely accurate.
And some of it is just her. Most of it's the whole show altogether.
Is this about you?
But this one in particular, I wanted to walk through a little bit of history, and we won't hit them all. but I do want to hit a couple. Now, in 2021, Annie won a Gracie Award.
Woo!
Here was the announcement.
97.1 congratulates quote-unquote Annie Fry for her quote-unquote national recognition as one of the top female non-AM drive, non-PM drive radio hosts in the country, excluding Alaska and Hawaii. This recognition from the Gracie Awards is the second time Annie has won the nation's, i.e. the lower 48's, top honor in this extremely narrow category in just 3 years. She did not win the award last year. Best host in the nation. Female news, non-drive time from noon to 3, recently pregnant, currently unpregnant, Annie Fry and the Annie Fry Show. Congratulations from everyone except Wiggins. 97.1 FM Talk.
There you go.
Who wrote that?
Maybe me.
Okay.
Big
It was hard
voice
to
guy
tell.
wrote it. Yeah, you can't tell.
Big voice guy wrote it.
You never know. He read it. So there was other awards in there referenced that there had been past Gracies. So obviously we're not hitting everything that's ever been hit on this show. And
Russell said sounds like a lot lot of asterisks with that award. The real actual
that
award
was not my intent.
was the Gracie for is it the best show or
It was just
some
best female host in the country, non-morning drive or something like that.
But you elaborate.
Yeah, you just gotta get more and more specific. Lower 48.
I want
states.
Russell to understand that that's not an actual award. The Gracie is an award.
It's a real award.
Ryan bastardized it a little bit there.
Whenever we have to do an announcement, I tend to have a little fun with it. So over the years, there's been more, and this was one that I found. Now, I'm not going to hit them all, of course, but this is one that I found. I think this was 2023.
I don't know. Don't look at me like I know what's happening next.
It was a Barrett Media Award, I think. I'm going to play it. Here we go.
Annie Fry has won a Gracie Award for Broadcasting Excellence 2 out of the last 2 years possible. This year, 97.1 would like to congratulate Annie on achieving something she's never achieved before. An honorable mention.
Congratulations, Annie. I'm happy to have helped you achieve nearly the same heights you have had in the past, but not quite.
She's learned so much about broadcasting excellence that this year, the Gracies wanted her to learn about humility.
You flew too close to the sun, you phoenix. You flew too close to the sun.
Annie Fry. She was the best.
The poll results are in. Are Annie's best days ahead of her or behind her?
The Annie Fry Show. Congratulations for winning this year's Gracie Honorable Mention.
So that was Gracie. I knew we won a Barrett in there somewhere, but
Yeah.
that one was labeled with Barrett/Gracie, so I don't know.
That big voice guy. Such a congratulations on that honorable mention.
Thank you.
This is just
That
confusing
felt
to
a
me
little
now.
more sincere than the thing that Ryan just played.
Because I know we won a Barrett Award. Maybe this was
It was
that.
like 6 midday.
It's an honor to be in the top 5 shows nationwide. It's an honor we hope to achieve someday. You're listening to The Annie Fry Show, voted number 6 in the nation.
That was the Barrett Media Award.
You're so kind to me.
Yeah, so was this one.
It's good to have you be a part.
You're listening to the number 1 midday show in America, after numbers 1 through 5. So once you get through numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, this is the best one. The Annie Fry Show.
I really appreciate the reverb you put on his voice.
You want to make it official?
Uh-huh.
One more from Barrett.
Did you answer the poll question?
One thing about Annie Fry, she won't settle for second best. She will, though, settle for 6th best. Congratulations on this midday, mid-market honor. Congratulations on being mid.
Those are just some of them through the years.
How are you? Is this Christmas for you? If we win some sort of acknowledgement, mention that you're like, I get to trash Annie again.
The worst thing that can happen is when we get first.
What are you gonna do?
Well, Trisha,
Yes, Ryan.
I think this is the part where we all take a step back, acknowledge that something has happened.
So something has
Ryan
happened.
farted.
Okay.
Sharded.
We don't say that word here.
We don't.
Intentionally.
Please.
Me to make
Please
the
go ahead.
announcement?
Make the announcement. Here it is.
So there were some very big awards.
Huge
awards. Statewide awards. And the Annie Fry Show won something.
Okay, here's the announcement.
When the Annie Fry Show heard they'd been given an award from the NBA, they weren't surprised. After all, Annie has a mean jump shot and Ryan can dunk.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins with a man's jam!
But when they heard the NBA had awarded them with Best On-Air Talent in Missouri, non-morning, they were a little confused. That seems really specific and not related to basketball, producer Brad Range said.
That seems really specific and not related to basketball.
It turns out it wasn't the NBA at all. It was the MBA, Missouri Broadcasters Association. This award makes a lot more sense now, said Wiggins.
This award makes a lot more sense now.
Wow, Best On-Air Talent in Missouri, said Annie. So, congratulations to the Annie Fry Show for Best On-Air Talent in the State, Non-Morning Drive. And also, just announced, the Annie Fry Show has won the Missouri Broadcasters Association Award for Highest Free Throw Percentage, Non-Morning Drive. Huzzah!
I will compete in that.
Congratulations, team.
That's awesome.
Well done.
Yeah, congratulations
Well
to the show.
Yes, that was a number one. So I had to take a little bit of different angle on making fun of you, us, whatever.
Highest free throw percentage.
Non-morning drive.
Yeah, I know Mark Cox has got a mean free throw.
They all do.
No, that's very great. You did win an actual statewide award, and you got number one.
I like
and
how
there's a
Trish is
plaque.
like, no, really.
No, guys, everybody for real. Congratulations, team.
Thank you.
Hooray.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a team award.
There
well
we go.
deserved.
Can we scratch out where it says KFDKFM and put our name on there?
Sure, it's your award.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want with it.
Do
All
it. Woo!
Let's.
You can even dunk it.
I can. How far is a free throw? 12 feet?
I don't know if I'd throw that across the room.
You can only do it once. You better make it. Well, very exciting.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you for your selective effort.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
And Brad, for your consistent effort.
I think my favorite part of that is when it says
Annie's.
This is what Brad said, then he says it. This is what Ryan said, and they say it. And this is what Annie said.
How much, for the creative process for Ryan Wiggins, when you're tasked with doing something like that to honor the show, how much of it do you hear in your head and know exactly what you want it to sound like, and then you put it down on paper so you can make it happen? Or how much of it is like an idea that is materializing, and then you're like, oh, and then I could do this, and then I could do that?
It always depends, but for something like that, you come up with a concept, and you just start joking around it. You write around it. And with that one, gosh, I did that in like 15 minutes.
So
it just came,
But
easy.
you get big voice guy to turn around what you write, and then you add from there?
No, I mean, you write a whole script, and you have the whole thing in mind going into it. And once you do it enough, you can kind of predict what it's going to sound like ahead of time. And it's really important to have people like Brad with that. I was like, read it 3 times so I can have one that sounds the most like big voice guy saying it.
Yeah.
Because the joke is funnier if it sounds exactly like what he just said. And it's not as funny if you can't tell that. So there's little things like that you just know going in. I got to hit these notes right, and then it'll be good.
Well, thank you for the acknowledgement and for the teamwork in this award.
It is a real award.
It is.
Even though we're joking about it, it's very real. And congratulations.
Everything that you've trashed
It's
me on
all
were
real.
all real awards. You make it. I mean, if we're gonna make up, maybe not the free throw percentage thing. Well, we haven't lost any free throw contests.
That's true.
See? So you might be onto something. So thank you to everybody who has helped make this possible for us. We don't do any of this without you as a listener, and we are always looking for new ways to connect with you, to reflect what you're wanting to learn more about or to have discussed or to be able to interject your opinion into this conversation. It all happens because of you, and we are incredibly grateful for the opportunity to have this time, noon to 3 here on 97.1 for the Annie Fry Show. Let's take a quick break. We're going to do next question, ask us anything. For the rest of the 2 o'clock hour, we are going to throw in an update when we return. We talked to Jim Talent at 1:25 about the Israel-Iran attacks, and when we started that conversation, Iran had started... They had launched missiles, of course. The sirens were going off in Tel Aviv. We'll give you an update real quick when we come back and continue on with our Friday the show. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show, now cooked in 100% beef tallow.
Beef tallow.
That's new.
That's new. All right. I like those. Do more of those. Let me talk to you about Stewie real quick. If you're looking to purchase a home, you're going to need a mortgage, unless you're just a baller. So if you're a baller, just set this one out. If you're like the rest of us and you need a mortgage, you need a great rate, you want the best possible financial situation for yourself, it starts with a phone call or a text message to Stewie, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. The bagel loan is the way that you get your mortgage, you get pre-approved, you get the low rate you'd qualify for anywhere else. They're going to work to make sure that you get the best possible financial setup for you to secure that mortgage. But when you get to the closing cost part, there aren't any. They just don't exist. You don't have to pay potentially thousands of dollars in closing costs when you get a bagel loan, which is only available at Stewart's American Mortgage. You can reach him directly. When I talk to Stewie about my financial situation, I call this number, I text this number. It's the same number I'm giving you, 314-324-4440. You can text him right now and say, I'd like to know more about the bagel loan. You can do it for refinances as well. You want to lower your rate from the recent highs of mortgage rates? Maybe you're looking to take some cash out to help some sort of situation you have in your life. Use the bagel loan. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
I'm Emma Greed, and I've spent the last 20 years building, running, and investing in some incredible businesses. The more success I've had, the more people started coming to me with questions. How do you start a business? How do you raise money? How do I bounce back from failure? On my new podcast, Aspire with Emma Greed, I'll be answering these questions and more through weekly conversations with the smartest minds out there. Listen to and follow Aspire with Emma Greed, an Odyssey podcast, available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show, live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save now with Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $1,700 on a new AC or HVAC system. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. There are updates taking place over in Israel. Iran started launching attacks. I was hearing last night that I think it was Trace. Was it Trace Gallagher? Is he the one who does the nighttime news?
Yeah.
From California. They had said that Iran had launched some missiles that were going to take some time to get to Israel. They are saying that they have arrived they're calling it a wave of missile attacks. So we are watching and seeing what is developing right now. A missile barrage, they're referring to it. The country fired 100 ballistic missiles, of which 5 to 7 got through Israel's missile defense shield. According to sources with Fox News, the attack came after the Israel Defense Forces launched a sweeping strike on Iran following months of attempted and seemingly failed nuclear negotiations. You were in here for Jim Talent's. You stepped out for that. Were you able to listen to it?
Most of it.
What do you think about his perspective on what he thought? Like, that was the first question I asked him was, like, just tell us what you would want people to know. And he said it was a somber, but I don't remember the exact adjective he used after somber. He said it was a somber day, but it was a good day.
Yeah. I think that's probably right. Iran is just not to be trusted with anything, and this unfortunately this kind of stuff has to happen. Israel is so alone in the Middle East. Every single country is either somewhat hostile to them or openly hostile to Israel. So, they have to do things that we've really not had to do in our lifetime in this country. And just listening to Jim Talent, you can tell that he knows a lot more than the average person about this. He's obviously been in.
It's like he understands the context.
He's been in high pressure situations as a senator. I think he was involved in committees that were dealing with these very subjects. So talking to him is good because he can give you perspective on not just what's happening right now. I think that's what's important. How this whole thing has been playing out, why it's necessary right now, whether the U.S. Should be involved. How are we involved? Will we be involved? So that's the kind of informational guest that I appreciate listening to on the Andy Fry Show, 97.1 in general, because they just know more than you're able to read.
You can check the podcast on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it, find the Andy Fry Show, find 97.1 FM Talk, favorite both of them, and stay connected to us there. You can also go to andyfryshow.com/podcast if you just want to play it out of a player. Easy to do that as well. He was on with us at 1:25, Jim Tallon. All right, let's get to next question here on a Friday afternoon.
Next question.
Question.
It's a legitimate question.
Next question.
Next question, please.
Next question on the Annie Fry Show.
So a few of us have just taken vacations. Brad's going on vacation next week. Here's my question for all of you guys. What is your top bucket list dream vacation destination? Anybody have one, obviously, to go first? Because I just went to Hawaii, and that was up there. Do you have one, Trisha?
No, Hawaii's up there. Hawaii's up there. I would like to go just about anywhere. I'm always on Eddie about how I just want to go
basically like anywhere but here.
I just want to go to Branson. And he's like, we're not doing it. And I'm like, take me to Branson. So I'd be happy with anything. Hawaii's up there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Ryan?
Dream vacation. Yeah, probably Branson.
All the cool kids do it.
No, I think it's either Italy or Scotland or Ireland.
Ooh, that's cool.
My wife has roots in Italy, and apparently if you go back to Italy and you're even 4 or 5 generations removed, you say, oh, this is my lineage, and they'll be, oh, hey, come stay with us.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and her dad did that once back 30 years ago, and she's never gotten to do that. So I'd like to do that with her.
Brad?
So I've been to Hawaii once, but listening to you talking about going to Hawaii and stuff like that, my wife actually lived in Hawaii when she was younger, and so that's why she wanted to go back for our honeymoon. She is now, I loved it. It was great. It's where I surrendered to ministry. There's a bunch of stuff going on with that. I would like to go back to Hawaii and just experience it without anything else going on and all of that other stuff. And so Terry's decided that we are going to Hawaii when she retires.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it was this year's New Year's resolution. I was going to stop not talking about my love and affection for my Disney vacations and trips. And so we go to Disney World a lot, of course. We have their timeshare, the version of their timeshare, but we stayed at Aulani, which is Disney's resort in Hawaii. Oh my gosh, take me back. I mean, we, as you all know, we stayed for 9 nights over there. We were there for a long time, but we wanted to be able to settle into a 5-hour time difference. If you're going to spend the money to get out there and to stay there, you want to be able to experience it and not be, in and out, whatever. But, oh my gosh, I can't say enough positive things about Aulani. I'm so glad I went. I will absolutely be going back. Australia is my destination just because my grandmother was from Australia, my paternal grandmother. I would love to go there. Another type of a trip that I feel like if I'm going to go, it's probably going to be 60 days or so that I'm going to want to stay, if not maybe a little bit longer. Heritage that I'd like to check out, but of course Australia seems really cool. I am a little apprehensive about the nature that exists that I don't know that I'm quite cut out for, unless Point Pest Control will come with me.
Do they kill Tasmanian devils?
I don't... Point or Australia?
Point Pest Control.
I'm more interested in the spiders the size of your face that fall from the sky. I may be conflating stories, but that's kind of what I think is going to happen.
It's true. A lot of those ANUOKs have a snake in a toilet in Australia. There's always something going on down there.
I'm not as snakes.
I
don't want to be around them, but spiders. I don't know, but I need to do it. I need to do it before I'm dead.
Would you punch a kangaroo if it was talking some smack?
Yes.
That was my Ask Me Anything.
Well, see, I walked through that question, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't punch a kangaroo. But if it were talking to me, that would be an unusual situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would be okay to punch the kangaroo.
And if it was saying stuff like, you think you're so great? freaking maggots.
Is that what you think when you
MAGAT.
are putting these awards together? Like it's like you've manifested your anger and hatred into a smack-talking kangaroo named Joey.
Yeah. That's a lot of what my dreams are like.
Seems like it.
I don't know
You
if
just
they're
were
dreams or
super
nightmares.
specific about that. Anyway, next question.
Next question. If you could get a press pass or some sort of like exclusive access, would you choose? And you only could get one.
Why would yours be Epic Universe in Orlando?
Would you choose the like everybody you'd ever wanted to talk to at the White House? You get to go, meet the president, do everything because came close to that.
Yeah.
But you didn't quite get to meet. You can get to the Oval Office.
Yeah, you've kept me in my place. Go on.
Yes. So would
It
you
was
would
cool.
you take
Could have been
that?
cooler.
Like a week of just complete behind the
Access.
scenes, see everything you could ever wanted to see, meet everybody you wanted to meet, or would you do Club 33 at Disney?
I don't really care about Club 33 at Disney.
Oh, well, that's easy then.
I don't know.
That's a lifetime membership.
Club 33 at Disney is some super exclusive club that you can be a part of. They've got rooms in each of the parks that you can go in and eat and be around other.
And be like, I'm Walt. He stood here.
You would be the most obnoxious person in Club 33.
Yeah. That's why I would like to join it.
No, I don't have any interest in that. I don't know. I would like the access, but at the same time, I have a very sensitive. Like, am I sitting around? If I'm talking to somebody, are they talking to me out of their role and responsibility in the place that they're serving, or are they so impressed with themselves that they want me to come see how good they look? And so I don't know. Between celebrities and politicians, I know people in both of those categories who are just God's honest, wonderfully genuine people, but a lot of them are the other ones. And I'm very interested in earned compliments. I do not spend a whole lot of time in the world of flattery. So, I don't know. Like an all-inclusive resort that I could go to and not be around people. Those are the opposite of the two things you said. Is that question just for me? Next question.
Basically, I would do Club 33, but I'd walk around being like, oh, you guys are in Club 33. Oh, I'm in Club 34. Okay.
He would get kicked out so fast.
I know.
Like,
there's
there's no way he'd stay in that club for
It's
long.
like, this guy doesn't belong here.
Brad,
obviously.
next question.
Megan Trainor.
What would high school freshman you think about you today?
Didn't you ask this one already? I think she'd be proud.
High school freshman Annie would not really care about what I've accomplished.
Oh, no, she had thoughts.
Yes, high school freshman you.
I think he would be like, oh, that's cool, but you didn't make it to SNL. So, fail.
Were you sarcastic?
I wasn't as sarcastic as I am now. That was a learned behavior.
Would you call yourself sarcastic? I don't know if I would put you. I mean, you're not incapable of speaking the language. That is the language I speak. But you're not. That's not really your
I dabble.
modus operandi. Yeah.
I dabble. I like to have a lot of tools at my disposal, and that's one of them.
How would freshman Trisha feel about?
She'd be proud. She'd be
Professional
happy.
Trisha.
Yeah, not forever. Well, professional Trisha or personal Trisha or all of it?
Your choice.
I think both. She'd be proud, but really happy about personal life Trisha right now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't
It's a
know
good
how.
place to be.
We've talked about this before, but Trisha's foray into 97.1 was when I was doing digital brand manager stuff, my previous life of managing the digital brand for 97.1. And I went to SIUE to speak to, was Dr. Donald your professor?
I believe it was, yes, Professor Donald.
So I had Dr.
Business
Donald.
management or something.
Sure.
Communications?
I had him as a professor when I was at SIUE, and you had him, and so I came back to talk to, and I would invite kids if they wanted to try to get an internship to come and apply for an internship. I remember you sitting in your desk. You were engaged.
Thanks.
Not everybody else in the classroom was.
I try to lead with that.
I would have been in the back of the room probably being, I don't know, I guess it kind of depends on the guest speaker. A guest speaker's more fun than whatever the standard is in a classroom. But Trisha applied for an internship, and I was eager to give it to her, and then she covered Jensen's maternity leave, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
She is going to be 13.
Yep.
In a minute.
That's exactly right.
And then Trisha got hired to be a producer here, and now she's running the station. So it's incredibly cool to see how far you've come in the amount of time I've known you.
So I'm happy about that too, I guess.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I am.
Could be
Yeah,
worse.
It's been good. No, it's great.
Brad, what about you?
I think that freshman me would be very impressed about where I'm at and super excited and happy, considering the way high school was whenever I was there. Something good to look forward to, something great to look forward to. Know that, you're going to lose a bunch of weight. Things are going to be better. You're going to have a good marriage. You're going to be involved in a church. You're going to have good times and good friends. So, yeah, I think you'd be very happy.
Cool. Next question. Ryan, do you have another one?
Well, I was going to ask one of the things you're most professionally proud of. But we've talked about that a little bit. So what is the answer? Go ahead.
Is this real?
Yeah, it's real.
What I'm most professionally
proud of?
This?
This show?
Yeah.
I
mean,
that makes sense.
I just
NBA award.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my free throw percentage. Are you kidding me?
Obviously. You seen her dunk?
While you were roasting me with those acknowledgments of the awards the show has won, I did a quick search. June 18th was my first Saturday show on 97.1. And super brief history, I graduated with a TV radio degree from SIUE in communications in 2006. I did KFNS Sports Talk Radio for 3 years, was initially Frank Cusimano's intern on his radio show. Just salt of the earth, amazing person Frank Cusimano is, and I was so grateful to have that opportunity. Didn't make me jaded about the industry immediately because he's a great guy. Did sports talk, loved sports talk, wanted to be a sideline reporter giving injury updates on the side of an NFL, game or whatever at the time. And then I realized those are all nights and weekends and I didn't want to do that. Applied for a job at 97.1 and became the digital brand manager there, as I just talked about. And just through conversations, I guess, that I was having with people who were on the team as like a background support staff person, the program director, Jeff, at the time, invited me to and had talked to Mark Cox, who's also a saint of a man. I've been so blessed to work with such good people. Like, that is not always the case in regular environments. Media, radio, you guys have been in the industry for a long time. Like, we know great people. I know other people.
It's unique. It is unique, this group that we have.
Yes. And just, working with Jeff and Jim and being able to, when they asked Mark, like, would you mind if Annie sat in with you? He did not have to say yes to that. And Mark is a wonderful person and was very kind and generous. So I started doing that in 2014. And then when Dana Lash moved to Dallas and started doing her big thing, and we moved Mark Cox to middays, 2 hours became open on the weekends. And my Saturday show started on June 18th of 2018. So we are less than a week away from what would be our... What would that be? 7 years?
Yes.
2016. No, I lied. 2016.
I was going to say 2018.
2018.
That seems...
2018 is the midday show.
Mm-hmm.
2016, 9 years. So the Annie Fry Show has been in existence for 9 years this coming week. There are a lot of people in radio who don't have careers that last 9 years in radio. I've been in it since 2006, so almost 20 years. God. That I've been here. It's just kind of crazy. And to have this, the wild obstacles that have existed over the evolution of the show, I've thought it was going to fall through and implode many times. And every time that happened, it got better. And that is a true testament to the people in this room like Brad and Trisha. And I'm just really happy to have this team that I have.
I don't like you.
Period. No, Ryan, you know.
You don't have to say anything. We get
that's
along.
That's not true.
You know
that's
what?
not true. You actually require that I say
need
things.
you to say more.
Brad?
All the time.
No, that is required.
He
say
needs
it.
to hear it.
Ryan, you're a great co-host.
I had when I was on vacation, my family in South Carolina listens online, which I didn't even know.
Hi.
And they
South Carolina?
they were telling us how much they enjoy the dynamic and what is everybody really like, and I'm like, well, they're pretty much the same.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I regularly meet people who are like, I love the show, and the compliments that come with the show always extend immediately to both you, Ryan, and Brad, and Ethan as well. It's just, what am I most proud of? That even if this ended tomorrow, which it could. You never know that we were as successful as we were.
No, it won't. You know why? NBA.
I don't.
Award.
Thank you to the NBA. I'll just leave it at that. Your professional accomplishment that you're most proud of?
I would say after listening to you, it's probably resiliency of just being able to come back.
I thought you were going to say TV.
All the things I did before I had to end up here. This is my fourth major media job, and so
you said it was mid.
Having to come back from each time that something ended and come back and do it again, it's like you rebuild, and that was part of the process here too. But now we've been with you guys for quite a while, so
just like a little behind the curtains, and I won't spend too much time on this, but like Ryan and I genuinely crack each other up. Like whatever chemistry that we have here on this show, it's not fake and manufactured, but it is a lot of fun. And it can only be fun if we know that we're intentionally having fun. And it does take a strong person on the other side of that. Like when I'm making fun of you and you're trying to wreck what I'm doing, we are really working hard at those things.
Yeah.
But I think that we leave the studio with a genuine love, appreciation, and respect for one another.
It's weird because
and I don't really want to say that and ruin the whole thing.
You have to know that the other person's kind of got your back enough to know that I'm going to throw you under the bus.
Yeah.
But know that I do care about you overall.
Yes. If you're talking about your sibling, like who gives a harder time than brothers and sisters to each other? But if somebody were to come at your family, you'd be the first one to set the record straight. So I feel that way about Brad and Ryan and Trisha. Certainly, I've worked with you longer than anybody else really at the station. And so it is real. It is genuine. None of this is really made up. And we do genuinely crack each other up every day, on the air and off the air.
And
Brad?
when you win a major award,
we win.
When we win a major award, the greatest thing about it really is job security. Wouldn't you say, Trisha?
I think you're reading.
Yeah. You can't take away mid. So
I think you're reading a lot extra into this, but I'm not going to rain on your parade. Brad, your biggest accomplishment?
So you guys have talked a lot about what we do on this show, but a lot of you guys out there know also I am a youth pastor on the other side. And some of the biggest accomplishments in my life is watching these kids come from 6th grade, and now I've had kids that are married with children and raising families, and watching those kids grow up and become mature Christian adults, raising families, being good dads and good moms. It really doesn't get any better than that, to know that you actually had a hand in that to help out with that. I mean, not much, but even a little bit, and you're like, man, I'm just so proud of those guys.
The spirit moves. Trisha, your biggest accomplishment? What are you most proud of?
Oh, my baby.
Yeah?
He's all I can think about right now. No, I mean,
professional accomplishment. My kids are listening right now going, hi.
No, professionally being here for as long as I have been and growing. It's unique to be able to stay with the same media company, let alone the same station. So I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break. We might field a couple more questions when we return. Let's get to the YouTube live chat poll response as well. If Ethan is going to come in here, he'll probably give us the results too. Will the No Kings protests be effective for the Democrats this weekend? Yes or no? You're listening to the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk. We'll be back in just a minute.
This is our job. You're listening to the Annie Fry Show.
You're ridiculous. All right, I'm going to just tread lightly on this one here because I feel like lobbing some things your way, Ryan, but I won't.
Whoa. Okay, well, go ahead. See what happens.
Infinite vitality.
Let's go.
I'll speak for myself. I'm a client of Infinite Vitality. Women and men alike have a lot of the same symptoms once you get to middle age, and there are, of course, different things as well biologically for what women and men will experience. But for people who are my age, I'm 41, if you are in your 50s, 60s, if you're even in your mid-30s, this is when this really starts to set in. Your hormones start to get out of balance, and the effects it has on your ability to kick butt at life, you kind of feel like, gosh, I guess this is just what getting older is about. But it doesn't have to be. You can succumb to that, and you can not do anything about it. But why would you give up on living your best life when you don't have to give up on it? When you reach out to Infinite Vitality, you can talk to them about loss of strength and muscle mass that you might have experienced. If you have a brain fog, if it's just harder to get the job done that you're trying to accomplish, if you have difficulty losing weight or weight gain that's just kind of coming out of nowhere and you can't get rid of like you used to, rough time sleeping, staying asleep, falling asleep, a loss of libido, all of this is not what you need to deal with. There is a solution out there for you. I'm experiencing hormone replacement therapy with Infinite Vitality, and I really want you to check out what they can do for you. Mention my name because you're going to save $50 towards a credit on hormone replacement therapy and weight loss services when you say Annie at Infinite Vitality. 618-486-1888. 618-486-1888, infinite-vitality.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, St. Louis! MERS Goodwill is proud to sponsor the St. Louis City Match on June 14th, and we want you to be a part of the excitement. This is more than just a match. It's a day of giving back. Bring your new or gently used clothing and household items to donate at designated drop-off zones outside Energizer Park between 12:30 and 3 p.m. Join us for the City and Goodwill Donation Drive on June 14th. Give hope, give local, give goodwill.
Today's YouTube live chat poll is, will the No Kings protest be effective for Democrats, yes or no? Are you going to be a part of them? I can't believe I asked that. But hey, let us know. You know, there's lots of ways you can approach this question. Will the No Kings protests be effective for Democrats? YouTube live chat poll today. We'll give the results of that poll in just a couple of minutes. 2:49. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go here. It's a Reardon Roundtable for Friday. A lot has changed on the planet since I left the air at 6 o'clock last night. We'll talk about Israel and Iran. We have a lot of other things to cover, including the protests across the country. We get rolling right after Fox News at 3. Jane Duker, Greg Keller, Ed Rohde, all on the panel. It starts at 3:04.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Long about a Saturday night. Yeah. Rubbed up, just relaxing in the tub. Thinking everything was alright.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thank you for being with us here on a Friday afternoon. We are going to continue on 97.1 to have the latest on the conflict, the escalation that exists, Israel attacking Iran last night very selectively. I encourage you to go back and listen to the Jim Talent conversation that we had here on the Annie Fry Show at 1:25 to get the latest and his thoughts on what has happened, transpired, did it need to happen, and what happens next. Mark Reardon will be on top of all of the latest breaking news to make sure that you are informed. It's Father's Day weekend, Dad.
Yeah.
Big plans?
We're going to go spend part of Father's Day with my dad. Part of the gift that I got for Father's Day, I already received, though. And that was that when we went to Williamsburg, we went and saw Yorktown and Jamestown and Colonial Williamsburg. Part of that vacation, that's a very historic vacation. And I really wanted to go to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg while we were there. And my wife did not. And so she said, how about this? I make that your Father's Day, that I send you to Busch Gardens while we're on vacation. And I said, done.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that was part of my gift.
I said yesterday, and we didn't get to it. I want to squeeze it in here real quick. There's a Miss Manners. I love reading Miss Manners. These situations that are complicated life situations, you're trying to navigate it. People have a strong perspective. It's like the common Miss Manners is the Am I the A-hole on Reddit. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same thing. Here's a circumstance. This is a situation that happened. I think this. They think that. What's the right thing? Well, Miss Manners has been doing that for a long time. Here's what she said. Should a daughter, or this is the question that was written to her. Should a daughter spend Father's Day with her husband or her father? The letter goes on to say, I haven't seen my daughter on Father's Day since she got married 18 years ago. Her husband demands to spend Father's Day at their beach house 300 miles away. And later, they will want to host me there for a visit. I think this is extremely selfish of him and a slap in the face to me. She has no backbone when it comes to him and his family. She, quote, married up, or so she thinks. I'm not going to condone this any longer, and I know it will put a big rift between us. I'm tired of enabling his behavior. I deserve more respect. Her husband is not her father. I am. Let him go to the beach house and take the kids with him. His ego creates this divide.
Ooh, man.
I got a thought on that.
Ryan, what do you think?
Sounds like a huge jack butt.
What do you say to this dad that says my daughter is spending Father's Day at their beach house with their kids?
I would say, Dad, I know that we're making the right decision based on the way you wrote into Miss Manners. We want to be away from you because of your incessant talking to the newspaper journalist about our relationship. Why are you doing this to us?
You're not on Miss the
Just
dear
based
Miss
on the
Manners
tone
person.
of that guy's email or whatever it
Like
is.
it all makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'd be away too.
Brad, what did you think?
Yeah, this is where the Bible talks about you're supposed to leave your father and mother and cleave to your wife or your husband and become one. This is so you are, yeah, she's your daughter, but she's also not your daughter anymore. She's his wife, and he's the father of her children. And they're supposed to do the family thing. And you, as a parent, your job is to work yourself out of a job. So now you have to take a step back. Now, if I was the husband and I liked the dad, I'd invite him to the beach house for Father's Day. But that's not what happened. So I feel like maybe there's more friction there than what he's letting on. Even though he's letting on, there's a lot of friction. But yeah, the wife has to go with the husband. That's how you have a healthy marriage.
This is the first year, and I genuinely, today I was like, oh, Father's Day is Sunday, and I asked myself, what do I do about it?
Yeah.
And my dad's working, so we'll plan something whenever he's free. Eddie and I will spend the day together, but I had this thought, like, what's the right answer? It's not to write into Miss Manners about it.
You should go down to Branson.
I would love to go to Branson.
Yeah, see the ball knobbers.
To the lake house.
I don't think that there's certainly an instance where the husband could be as demanding of the wife as the father is, and that would not be, I know that Brad was going biblical on it, but that would be not correct either. You can't be like, you are mine, and we are doing this, and you can tell your dad to pound sand, but not here on my beach house, because this is my sand.
This is my beach house.
But it's, to me, like, isn't it obvious if you're going to write a note like that? And that's essentially what Miss Manners says. Like, I pretty much get why she doesn't want to be with you. These are difficult. These can be difficult times to navigate. Trisha, the first time that we had, Charlie was born the day after Christmas, but when you create your new family and you're now obligated to go multiple places,
you get to decide.
It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be dramatic or traumatic, but it can be.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're surrounded by good people.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on this one, Ethan?
Yeah, if you set your parents up with low expectations for these kinds of things and just treat them bad throughout the year, then
Have you been talking to Ryan?
It sets
That does sound like me.
That's a king of low
Be
expectations.
a disappointment all the time, and then you're always coming in higher than expected.
Don't
I'm
play
learning
this
in the
off though
ways.
that you haven't said. Your marriage advice is to set super low expectations.
I'm learning.
Keep raising the bar very slowly.
Not too fast.
Over 75 years.
Yep. Fantastic. YouTube live chat poll. Ethan, you want to hit us with the results?
283 votes on this Friday's YouTube live chat poll. Will the No Kings protests be effective for Democrats? Not very close today. An overwhelming majority, 90%,
Wow.
say no.
All right. Well, hopefully they remain peaceful. The most desired outcome, in my opinion, for this weekend is that Monday we're like, oh yeah, the protests. How'd they go? That doesn't necessarily mean that's how it will happen. Hopefully St. Louis. I keep scrolling Twitter, waiting to see St. Louis's name popping with all of these other cities. God willing, it doesn't happen. Stay safe. Pray for the world. Pray for peace, and keep it right here. Mark Reardon is next.
Hi, this is Tammy Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. What if it were possible to protect you from market downturns without having to make an emotional decision to buy or sell? What if you could take advantage of a strategy that would automatically take you out of harm's way during the bad years and position you for the growth opportunity during the good years?
The secret is linking safely to the market without putting your principal at risk. By linking to the market instead of owning the market, you can participate safely on autopilot and lock in your gains without creating a taxable event. Go online to retirementkey.com for a no-obligation retirement review, and we'll teach you the strategy that has helped our clients retire with confidence for the past 39 years. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. So go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
If it's time for new windows, there's only one place to call. That is Window World. Mark Cox here. Call my friends at Window World at 314-993-1800 for your free estimate today. If you have any questions, they'll be glad